Do we have that queued up? Okay, so we're a go.
Are we? Love the professionalism.
Always professional. I have to redo that.
Yes, please do that.
To get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio, along with your host, Brian Smith, and
co-host Carrie Smith.
Giving you all the late-breaking news, stuff that breaks on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because the media breaks it on purpose so that, or the government breaks it on purpose so that it won't get picked up.
Yeah, and if you consider the government and the media to be one entity, then yeah.
So I guess I slipped, but not really.
Well, we have to inform our listeners that what the fact of the matter is.
Right, so today is it's August.
Woo! Delete that. Do we have a delay here?
Prep.
I'm sure. Wow. Do you
Mr.
have your
Producer.
Calendar open in front of you?
Mr. Producer, you caught... Oh, he said he caught that. He deleted it.
Oh, he deleted it?
Yeah.
Or he bleeped it out? He
delayed it.
That's why we're on a delay, folks. And if you didn't hear the beep, that's because you're on a special live recording
version.
The real live. Like
right.
everything you listen to out there is not really live because it's on like a 10-second delay.
Well, if you hear us slip, guaranteed that's 100% live.
Which means you're getting the real breaking news.
The raw.
The stuff that comes out before anything else, 10 seconds before anybody else.
The raw feed. So today, September 20th, 2015.
Okay.
Sunday, 5 o'clock East Coast.
I think you got that right. Okay.
Good. I'm getting thumbs up from the producer.
All right.
Let me give the number out. It's 772. I almost forgot it.
555.
I was going to say 866. We've never done an 866. Dude, I'm telling you, I got to get my brain straight.
555. No, wait, what?
772-49-SMITH. That is our call-in line if you want to be part of the show.
And if you don't know how to spell Smith the way it's supposed to be, then you probably shouldn't be calling in anyway. Right. So anyway.
SMYTH for those of you in Westwood
who have just stumbled upon this show. So what is this show? What are we doing?
We are going to talk all about the media today, talk about their obsession with Trump. We're going to talk a little bit about Hillary, just a little bit. We're going to discuss what I find to be quite amazing, and I thought it's been broken, so it's not...
Who broke it?
New. Pamela Geller, actually.
Oh, okay.
But the Clock Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Bomb Boy, Clock Boy. Talk a little bit about that.
That's the high school freshman who brought in a very brilliant invention.
Yeah, he invented the entire thing. Invention.
He tinkered. He went to Radio Shack and bought a bunch of stuff.
No.
Was it a kit?
No,
was it probably a kit?
No, he smelted the metal.
He actually mined the silver
for
the contacts and everything,
right?
And the gold contacts.
And so he used the tubes.
The tubes?
Oh,
you mean the vacuum tubes?
Vacuum.
Yes, vacuum tubes. Wow. Did he also use a time machine? Do people even use vacuum tubes anymore?
Well, he used time.
Oh, time is a part of this story.
Right.
Okay.
A countdown.
So he made a clock, right?
Right.
And we'll talk about that in the show.
Debate.
The main thing, the debate, the GOP debate on CNN, which a lot of people had some interesting things to say about. There's so much. 3 hours long. Do you realize if we just played the audio soundbite of the debates, that would be our show? The whole thing.
People's eyes would be bleeding.
Oh, they did. They bled during the last hour. You know, I did a live feed from Twitter.
So give the handle out so people can jump on Twitter and follow us.
So if you're on Twitter, it's just @SmithRadio. That's our Twitter handle. Okay. And so definitely follow us. But just so happened, just the last minute, I said, you know what, I'm going to do a live feed. I do live feeds periodically for things that people want to keep up on. And I'll tell you what, my typing skills on my little smartphone are second to none.
Wow.
I think I was the very first one to tweet that Jeb Bush said, "Yeah, I smoked pot." And that
What?
Yeah, that was breaking news for everybody, including Jeb Bush's mother.
No, she didn't even know.
He said it. He said, "I know that my mother's not going to be very happy about me saying that." Well, maybe she did know it, but told him, "Don't you dare say that."
Right.
That was supposed to be the October surprise.
Yeah, because we're coming up on October.
No, next October.
Oh, you mean the elections aren't this year?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to come out to say that he is a heroin addict. That will be the October surprise.
Wow.
It could
Who
be.
was? Well, Obama's been down that road. I don't know if he chased the white dragon, but
I don't know.
no, he'd done a lot.
I never heard of that.
Recreational stuff in the
Oh,
past.
he's the Choom Club guy. He's part of the Choom gang. Choom gang. That's right.
What?
I said club. Like
what's a Choom gang?
You never heard of that?
No.
You don't know about the Choom gang?
Well, there's probably people out there listening right now. I guarantee you, if I asked my dad, he wouldn't know.
Oh, I guarantee your dad knows about the Choom.
No!
He
Am I that low of an informationer?
You know what? Here's the thing about you, Brian. You're too high level to stoop down to that.
So what are you saying about our
So
parents?
basically, right. Oh, whoa, wait a minute.
And now what about you?
Was that passive aggressive?
But you just said it about yourself because you know about it.
Well, I am the guy on this show who goes down and
You got to do what you got to do.
I slum. I mean, I'm the one that tells you about the breaking news on Yahoo.com. And yeah, I'm the pop culture guy on this show. So, but anyway, no, the Choom Gang. If you read his old books, I believe it was Dreams of My Father. Not sure if it was that one or the other bestseller that you can't find anywhere.
Right.
Where he said that when he was in college, he joined. He had some friends that they jokingly called themselves the Choom Gang.
Oh, okay.
And that is a reference to all the pot that they smoked. Basically, they got together and just smoked pot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny during his 2008 campaign. For those of you guys who are really young that may not have even remembered what went on during the 2008 campaign, we were all kind of curious because the whole thing from the beginning of time practically about presidential campaigns is, God forbid if you found out that there was any involvement of drug. Remember when Clinton ran, there was an accusation of him smoking pot, and finally it was so serious that he finally came out and said, okay, I puffed on a marijuana cigarette.
But I did not inhale.
Right. And when he said he didn't inhale, everybody's like, oh, busted. Like, you're not really doing drugs if you put the smoke in your mouth but don't let it go down to your lungs, because then you're not really going to get high. It would be like putting the needle into your arm when you're a heroin user, but not injecting. Oh, yeah. I put the needle in my arm. I just didn't inject.
What?
That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of what he said. So anyway, so when Barack Obama came out, and actually his book was about the Choom Gang. He didn't come out and say, yeah, I was part of the Choom Gang. It was in his book, and the right, especially people like Hannity, were trying to say that he was part of this Choom Gang. He was a pothead. It's not like he just tried drugs like everybody. All the new presidential campaign or presidential nominees are all like, well, yeah, we all tried marijuana. Didn't everybody? Everybody tried marijuana.
Right.
And pretty much ever since, like, the last non-drug user president we had was George H.W. Bush. After Reagan.
Oh, senior.
Yes, senior. Right. Ever since then, we've had now it's like a badge of honor. It's like a rite of passage. If your presidential candidate has not tried drugs, then that's cause for suspicion.
Okay. So I am currently endorsing a former crack addict, Marion Barry.
Marion Barry?
Yeah, he was the mayor of D.C. I think he should run for president. He's a heavy drug user and did jail time.
For drugs.
Yes. He got
Okay.
reelected in jail for doing crack cocaine. He actually was attempting to buy crack cocaine from an undercover FBI agent at a hotel room.
Did he run on his crack usage? I mean, was that part of his
Well,
campaign?
they knew he was in prison for it.
Okay.
So,
But that's the left coast.
yeah, I don't even know what coast D.C. is.
Oh, was this a DC?
The D.C. mayor.
Oh, I thought
The
this was
mayor of DC.
a California thing.
Yeah, it's D.C. mayor.
Oh, yeah, that would be a right coast.
Pure insanity.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, that's the thing about the Choom Gang. And so the debates.
Yes.
All right. So basically, the debates were grueling. And it's 3 hours.
You said it was 3 hours long?
Yeah, the original thing was it was going to be over 2 hours, and then they were like, wow, 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then they were like, 2.5 hours? Oh my gosh. Well, it was a full solid 3 hours. It was interesting. The format was a lot different. If you looked at the Fox News debates, it was all about keeping a certain structure. You could tell that there was some sort of an attempt to give everybody as much equal time as possible.
Right.
Even though that's going to be impossible because of the fact that, there's 11 candidates up there. You know, you can only do so much.
Did you hear the numbers, the percentages?
Yeah, well, I kind of knew that intuitively while watching. I watched the full 3 hours of it, and intuitively I could tell, wow, there's some people that I forgot were in this debate because it's been a long time. Huckabee was the worst. He got it the worst from CNN. They pretty much completely ignored him until finally. It was amazing. He finally got to answer a question.
Hey, everybody, I'm still here. Hey.
Well, they called on him. They called on him. I'll give them that.
So
But it was about.
So when he talked, it wasn't like this. Like, hey.
Yeah, they had his mic turned down.
Can you turn? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It wasn't like that.
You could actually scream when you back up because the mic won't. You don't have to do it. Brian's like backing up from the mic and going quiet.
So can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's how his mic was.
I'm here.
You can actually scream. You'd be
wow,
fine. Yeah,
that's fun. That's when he got really angry.
Right. So anyway, yeah, it was like 45 minutes before they finally called on him, and it was like, wow, Huckabee's in this debate. So he's like 30 seconds into his answer, and they're like, okay, thank you, Governor, thank you,
No.
thank you. And finally, Governor Huckabee was like, oh, wait, you know what? You guys haven't called me. I've had 30 seconds. You guys haven't called me. That's it. Forget you guys. I'm talking. You're going to listen to my answer.
Wow, good for him.
So, yeah, but the thing about Huckabee is...
You don't want to have to go out like that, but yeah, good for him.
Well, I mean, you're not going to take that from them. That was ridiculous. No. And I'm not defending him as far as a candidate. His amnesty and Common Core.
We're not endorsing anybody yet. We're just telling you who they are.
We're going to cheer on people who do things that we like.
And I want to let you know right now, if Huckabee is the nominee, God forbid, if Huckabee is the nominee, I will vote for Huckabee. I'm just letting you know right now.
Unless he's going up against Cruz in the actual general election.
Oh, so Cruz jumps to be a Democrat, wins the nominations.
Right. He wins. Right. That would be the only way. Wait, did I just endorse Cruz?
over Huckabee.
Okay, over Huckabee. Okay.
So we've got, don't get me wrong, folks, we've got our hierarchy, our list.
Well, there's some
things that we like more than other.
And we could rule out some.
Right, and we're definitely ruling out Rand Paul and Huckabee for the most part.
Rand Paul, the thing about, and when we say rule out, that does not mean you sit out the election.
No, we're saying rule out for trying to push them for the nominee.
Primary.
Right.
And the reason we rule out Rand Paul is because he threw Tea Party candidate Mike Bevins under the bus. Of all people to endorse, it was Mitch McConnell.
Which is
Mitch McConnell. I mean, he's right up there with Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, Barack Obama. He is the quintessential rhino.
I was going to say he's a Republican, though, isn't he?
He's got an R on his name. The other one that's just as bad is Lindsey Graham. And Lindsey Graham is actually, he was in the kiddie table debates for CNN. Right. And he was at the kiddie table for Fox News debate. And he got into it with, I don't even remember who he got it into it with, but it was all about amnesty. He was all in at the kiddie table for amnesty.
Yeah, he was saying that we need to start taking on refugees as well.
He said they're Americans.
Oh, the ones that are already here?
He said they're, well, the guy he was arguing with said that Mexicans, we need to support Americans over Mexicans. And Lindsey Graham pulled out the old stupid Democrat talking point of, last time I checked, all North Americans and South Americans and Central Americans are all Americans.
Can you clarify that and help everybody understand what that
this
means?
is really simple. This is really simple. When you hear Republicans or conservatives use the word Americans, it's just a abbreviated version of United States of Americans. So when we say Americans, we're not saying, we mean Brazilians too, because they're in South America, and that is America. It's just South America, but it is America. Right. No, it's short because we don't call people United Statesians.
No, we don't.
The United Statesies?
No.
Are you speaking United Statesies? We don't say that. We don't say United Statesians. We don't say United Statesies. We call people American. Although if you're was it Sarah Palin that said you should speak American?
Yeah, she said.
Why would you do that? Don't do that, people. Please don't say we speak American. It's English.
Right.
We do endorse our language as being English, not American. We're speaking American. Whew!
I thought you knew.
Yeah, so
thought you knew.
So when you hear a Republican, a conservative, Tea Party, hillbilly from Tennessee, whatever, say we should support Americans, and then the Democrats come out with their ridiculous talking point. Last I checked, but Mexicans are Americans because they're in Central America.
Right.
And technically, they could be. Some people say there is no Central America. It's North America, South America. It's being divided by the Panama Canal. I don't care. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
It's irrelevant because when we in America say we support Americans, what we're saying is American means short for United States of America.
Correct.
We're not saying nobody's going to sit there and say, What are you? Are you Mexican or are you United States of American? Nobody's saying that.
Nobody.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll clarify if I'm worried that I'm going to get that crap thrown at me. I'll say American citizen or United States citizen. Actually, if I really want to be clear, I'll say United States citizen.
Right. Right.
But nobody's going. We say American because it's a lot easier to refer to somebody who is a United States citizen.
Yeah, you'd
as
say
American.
Right. You would say U.S. citizen. You wouldn't say American citizen. I've never heard anybody say American citizen.
Well, a lot of people say that. What I'm saying is, if somebody calls you American or refers to somebody, that's an American. That's a real American.
But they're all Americans.
Who? Are you playing devil's advocate? I'm going to choke somebody out here. Whew! They're going to get people to...
You were the one that told me to start downing that rock star.
Huh?
Yeah, you said the only way to wake up. So none of them work. The only one that works is rock star.
Oh, did you suck down a rock star?
This hour paid for by Rockstar.
We need that the College Humor. They have a parody commercial about a. Do you remember that?
Oh, I'm sure. No, I don't.
I can't remember the name of it, but they have an energy drink.
Oh yes, no, it's
whatever it's called.
It's crushing it. Oh, it's crushing it. Whatever it was crushing it. I remember that. Crushing it.
It has the guy with all the muscles on him and everything.
It's crushing it.
Yeah. So anyway,
Well, Trump
okay.
got 44% of the time on the
okay.
debate.
Well, not only did he get a lot of the time, but all the questions were asked. The questions that were asked of other candidates referred to Trump.
How is that? Stick to the
You started to sound like Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck does that. He goes, yeah, Glenn Beck does.
Stick to the topics, people.
Well, no, he was the topic.
No, but that's not right. Well, that's CNN's topic.
Oh, right. Well, you could tell early on I'm sure a lot of you guys listening watch the debates. You guys probably noticed, and it was forecasted. Everybody predicted that it was all going to be about CNN trying to either gang up on Trump themselves or pit everybody against Trump. And early on, that was blatantly obvious.
So what is their obsession? And I'm trying to put this together. The media across the board is absolutely, completely, 100% obsessed with Trump.
Well,
and
first
good
of all-
or bad.
okay.
Good or bad.
Okay, well, first of all, he's entertaining. He had a very successful a franchise, practically. Not just a season, but of The Apprentice.
Did you hear what he said to Fioria? Yeah,
Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The race car driver.
What?
She sounds like an Indy 500.
Wait, who are
racer.
we talking about?
Yeah, Carly Fiorina.
Fiorina. She's not a race car driver.
No, but it sounds like a race car driver name.
Okay.
Like an Italian name. Like driving a Ferrari.
Oh, I see what you're saying. She sounds like maybe her first name should be Portia.
Yes, Porsche Fiorina.
Or what are some of the other? Oh, Mercedes.
Yes, they always go with Mercedes. So apparently they cornered Trump and asked him about her and, hey, what'd you say about her? You said something bad about her, whatever.
Oh, you mean during the debate?
Yeah, and he said, well, I can tell you this much. She can't ever run any of my companies.
Oh, right, because he was referring to her tenure as CEO of HP and Lucent.
I supported her in the beginning because she's a woman.
Full disclosure, though.
And that she was a high CEO, executive, female, that's the very strong woman, and I really was pushing for, found out quickly, very quickly, and you find this all over the net, she literally destroyed hundreds of thousands of jobs at HP.
Well, I agree with her. She actually responded to that attack.
Okay.
And I actually agree with her. I actually bought HP. I'm sorry, I bought Compaq stock. I bought stock in Compaq right before they got bought by HP. And the reason was Compaq computer company. They made desktops. It was kind of like Dell, but back in the day. Like you could buy a Dell or you could buy a Compaq or, so there were all these different brands of PCs that you could buy. Well, anyway, Compaq was really down in the dumps. And then there was word that HP was going to buy them. And HP was doing really well.
Right.
So I bought stock in Compaq, and they did get purchased by HP. So then my stock transferred into HP. It went into the toilet. I lost money on that.
So why would you be down with her? That's a bad move.
Oh, no, I'm not. I don't. Okay, so her explanation was the stock, the economy just going in the toilet. She didn't have any impact on the stock, on the economy, but the economy had impact on the stock.
Okay.
And that she was just doing what she could to weather the storm. And that included laying off a lot of people. I mean, it made perfect sense.
True. However, low information voters out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's gobbledygook to them.
That's true.
We're talking, for those of you on the West Side, what we just said was that she was justified in doing what she was doing.
No, they turned us off.
Oh.
They were like, whoa, dude, I don't know what I listen to stuff, I turned it off.
Did he just say stock? I don't know what that is.
Stock. It's like
what?
stock cars? Stock cars? Racing?
I think he's talking about...
He did say something about Carly Fiorina being a race car driver.
Maybe she's into stock car driving.
Must be. No, she transferred over to stock car racing, and she's been doing terrible ever since.
So I ain't buying into her.
She's wrecking into people. Oh, that's Danica Patrick.
Whoa.
Wow. Anyway. So yeah. So we probably lost everybody on all that. But no, I can't. It makes sense to me when you look at the dynamics of the economy Let's take any given company and let's look at any CEO who was the head of a company at the beginning of the economy just taking a tank, okay?
You mean before, like, 08, when everything tanked in 08?
Well, actually,
further back.
Compaq. When I bought Compaq, it was a dot-com bubble.
Ooh,
yeah,
so
way
it was
back
before
there.
the 00.
So we're talking dot-com bubble era.
In the 90s.
Yeah, and things were just going to go down the tubes. And so this was when the whole Compaq, HP, I mean, this was back when people were buying the big manila shaded CRT tubes.
CRT
yeah.
And when they tell you do not open those, they really mean do not take apart the CRT tube monitors.
You might have to Google CRT tubes because I don't even think they're even around. I mean, seriously, when's the last time you seen a CRT tube?
It's been years, and I saw somebody put one on Craigslist for sale for like $10, and I responded to him, LOL.
Oh, maybe he meant he was going to pay you $10 to pick it up.
Yeah, it was that, and then the flat screens that weighed like 1,000 pounds, but it had the real big back to it.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the front was flat, but the back.
Oh, that was the flat screen.
That was the first version.
Oh,
and that thing, dude, I threw my back out on one.
Oh, I had the 35-inch.
Right, you throw your back out on that one.
You have to kind of lean back to to
counterbalance the weight.
Yeah, you got to lean back, especially going down steps. That's scary. Going down steps with one of those. So anyway, just this week I saw one in somebody's front yard on the curb for pickup.
They won't pick it up.
Yeah, because of the environmental impact.
Oh, it's bad news. Well, not only that, but there's still electricity inside the unit that's stored up in a...
Yeah, but over time it dissipates.
They just unplugged it yesterday. I wouldn't touch it.
They probably did. You got to believe that. So anyway, I believed Carly Fiorina's explanation as to why she took the actions of laying so many people off. Look, you got to look at what it... Okay, let's get away from the narrative. This is a communist liberal narrative that companies exist to employ people. That's what their purpose is.
Right.
That's a lie. In a capitalist society, it's a lie. In a freedom-loving, individual freedom, constitutional, anti-socialist world, companies do not exist to employ people.
Unless you're Hillary Clinton, and she says that companies don't create jobs.
They don't?
She said, yeah.
Hillary Clinton said that?
Yeah, in 2014.
But the whole purpose is to create jobs to those people.
For some reason, she came out and said that
only the government
corporations.
Oh, I see. Jobs. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the link.
You didn't build that.
I'm gonna connect the dots for you.
Okay.
Communists, which would be Hillary Clinton, and she's communist light because she's communist light.
I don't know. I think
she's more of a fascist.
I think if you dug deep down into her and she unleashed.
Well, she did want to do Hillary Care.
Oh yeah,
and she's probably very jealous that Obama got his communism through.
You know what she did after Hillary Care? You know what she did?
I don't know. What did she do? Did you hear her on Deface the Nation this morning?
Okay, dude, you're not gonna believe.
Dude, that was a.
Dude, this guy made a YouTube video. 10 hours.
Shut up.
I am not.
There's no way.
It is a 10-hour video.
How many months does it take?
Of Hillary laughing.
There's no way. 10 hours.
It's 10 hours.
It has to be looped. It has to be looped.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. So it is
But
looped.
the fact...
I thought you were saying he found...
10 hours of individuals?
No repeats. No repeats.
Well, if you listen to the first few seconds...
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. All right.
Okay. There's a little bit of a repeat in there.
Okay. Her new theme. We're going off on a tangent now, but no. So communists believe. Here's how I'm going to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Communists believe that companies are to be owned and run by the state.
Correct.
So it makes perfect sense that a communist would say that companies, private sector companies, don't create jobs, because that would be the public sector. They're supposed to own all the businesses, the means of production. If you look up the definition of communism, they are in charge of all the means of production.
And they tell each and every single different business store when to open, when to close, what to sell, how much to sell it for. Mm-hmm. I mean, they micromanage everything from top to bottom. And if you've ever known anything that's been micromanaged, you know, it don't work.
Man, you remember Miss Kennedy at Cheviot School?
Do I?
6th grade. No, listen, you're going to like her now. No, not. She was normal.
No, she had really bad arthritis, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure she had arthritis. She was like that.
Oh, I was thinking Miss Powell, the principal. She had a bad arthritis.
No, Mrs. Kennedy was the 6th grade teacher.
English.
There was Mr. Dixon and Mrs. Kennedy. There was a 2.
She was
she did English. The grammar and spelling and all that stuff.
That's where I got my first F.
Oh.
Her class. Well,
she's, God rest her soul, she passed on.
She was, 110 back then?
Yeah. No, you're thinking of Miss Wessel. She was 500.
I don't even
she was undead.
That.
She was undead.
She was undead.
But she probably isn't undead anymore.
Probably not.
Anyway, no, Miss Kennedy, this is remarkable. When you think of the state of American education today, to say this is remarkable.
Put it in perspective. What year, about what decade?
88, 87.
What decade? I was going to give you a decade.
It was in the Cold War.
Whoa!
Yeah, it was during the Cold War. So, so she would throw out some pro-American, anti-communist stuff out there for us to learn. It was great. She would tell us about communism. She said, in communism, you can go to the grocery store and there would be one tube or one brand of toothpaste.
Yeah, one flavor, one brand, one name, and generic.
Because their belief is that it is inefficient to have a choice of 2 different toothpaste. Why would you need that? You only need one toothpaste.
But this one doesn't taste any good.
Well, they'll make it taste better.
Okay, well, why are my teeth all yellow? Like I'm from.
Well, they'll make it work.
I'm
better.
from Great Britain or something.
They'll make it work better.
They have no incentive to make it work better.
Well, people could complain, like, "Hey, could you make this better?"
What, to the government?
But here's the thing.
Okay.
In a communist country, the people that work for the toothpaste factory or company, they will be compelled to make the best product possible for love of mother country.
Right.
Mother Russia. We want to make the best toothpaste. But she pointed out that it was ridiculous because we don't have any choice. We need choice. We need a choice to choose whichever one we like.
Absolutely.
Instead of just having one toothpaste. And
and that's funny because when you go to the grocery store, sometimes the choices are overwhelming, but you will find the one that you like the best.
You might actually buy one that you are going to be unhappy with. And then the next time you go,
you know never to get that one again.
Yeah, right. You know at that point.
Seriously. And then if it's not just you, if it's everybody else that doesn't like that either, that brand will be gone.
Yeah. If it's universally hated, it's kind of like a...
What about Alestra? Do you remember that?
Alestra? No, what is it?
Lay's came out with a potato chip made instead of with oil, Crisco, that makes people's butts fat. They came up with a new oil called Alestra.
That doesn't even sound appetizing.
Well, they said guaranteed.
To not make you fat?
Guaranteed. And it will go right through.
Oh, go right through.
So my sister and her girlfriend swore by these until on campus, walking from one class to another, grand explosions.
Oh, really? Yeah, you got to watch out.
So when you read the back of the package, it said side effects may include loose stool.
Loose stool? That sounds terrible. Like it's rickety? It's a stool and it's rickety, right?
It falls right out.
Oh, wow. You don't want to sit down on that.
So that was a huge blunder and had to be removed from taken off taken off the
Because
shelf.
people didn't want to have explosions.
They didn't want a laxative. They wanted potato chips.
Yeah, but what if you want a laxative in the form of a potato chip? I mean, some people might actually want that. They should have marketed it as a laxative. People would have been like, wait a minute. You mean I can get a laxative in the form of a chip? A potato chip? This has got to happen.
Andy, you won't get fat.
Oh, this is perfect. This is a win-win. How did this not become huge?
They weren't creative enough.
They needed to compete directly with X-Lax.
X-Lax and all of them.
So anyway, so on Meet the Depressed this morning, I'm listening to whoever's in charge of Meet the Depressed. I think it might be F. Chuck Todd.
F. Chuck is on there, and there's one other knucklehead that's on there.
Well, Hillary was being interviewed.
Okay.
And I'm listening to her, and she's trying to sound the best she can. They were asking her if the country is ready for somebody like you who's not an outsider. And she said, "Who could be more outside than me? If you ever looked at a list, my daughter had a placemat when she was a child that had a picture of every single president of the United States."
I wasn't on there.
Well, no, they were all men. They were all old men.
Oh.
So I'm the quintessential outsider, is what she said. But when she said it, I couldn't believe she did this. She's got to know. I mean, you ever reflect? I mean, we're on the radio. So we listen to ourselves, and we reflect on things that we do that we don't like and try to improve on it.
Right.
Well, guess what she did? That was clearly a doubling down of things that she shouldn't do.
What's that?
When she was asked this question, she goes, I mean, it was like, it was the loudest. It was a doubling down. It was louder than any of the examples.
There's one that I've got.
She was so loud. It was the cackle. No, it was louder and doubling. It was doubled down on all the cackling. It was like, you know what? I'm going to make the cackling my thing. And she did. We don't have. It was just this morning, but oh my God!
I searched for it, and all they had were segments of the show, so they cut it out. Whatever they did, they cut it out.
My speakers were getting distorted.
Well,
the speakers were distorted.
Did you hear that? I think this was from back in when she ran for president last time. Jon Stewart did a bit on her.
Okay.
Did you hear about that?
No problem. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
All right, you guys are going to love this.
Last night we were discussing the presidential campaign. Of course, Hillary Clinton remains the solid frontrunner for the Democrats. A lot of voters, though, not quite sold, feel she can be a bit distant, calculated, some type of synthetic being that cries Mercury.
What?
This weekend, Hillary Clinton appeared on all 5 Sunday morning news shows determined to showcase her humanity. And what is humanity's humanity?
Let me ask you about health care.
Yeah, I'd love for you to ask me about health care.
You did come out with a response.
I wonder if you want to respond to the former mayor.
Would have.
That's what she was doing.
I'm joyful.
How old is this?
Was this laughter spontaneous?
This might be more
In some
recent.
instances, it did seem justified.
Why do you and the president have such a hyper-partisan view of politics?
Yes! No! That has to be
You're
fake.
on Fox News,
No.
and they just asked you why you're so partisan. That's
That was
That's
real.
funny.
I watched the interview.
That is
But
so
in other cases,
You rolled out your new health care plan, something the Republicans immediately said is going to lead to socialized medicine. It would require, among
She's laughing over him. She's the
among
Joker.
other things that every American
She
would
even said, "I'm sorry."
She's the Joker.
I'm sorry, it's just the phrase socialized medicine reference that just got me thinking about the old joke about the nun who tells St. Peter she won't gargle if Sister Mary Catherine's going to put her ass in the... Anyway.
Yeah, good for you, Johnny boy.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Bob. Continue with the question. By the way, that clip of Hillary with Chris Wallace, where there was a delay before the laughter, that happened again at the end of the interview. Watch.
I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Don't be a stranger, and please send my best to the president.
For real. I am not lying.
To the untrained eye, that looks like a satellite delay, but that was not a satellite interview. This is what it really is.
Please send my best to the president.
Humorous remark detected. Prepare for laughter display in 2, 1, go.
Wow.
She'll be our first president that you can't spill water on.
The first president you can't spill water on.
And that loud cackle that was ear splitting.
It's so
that happened. That happened on Meet the Depressed this morning,
dude. It's so awful, and it sounded like one of those. So she's
it was the most doubled down one. So she's either not able to reflect on what's making her sound bad, or she's such a narcissist that she hears herself in all these interviews and is like, "Wow, man, I sound so good."
There was they were doing a Saturday Night Live skit.
Okay.
Where Hillary actually came out and started talking to the audience about being a little bit closer, a little bit more real. And one of the actresses that played her came out. And they kind of had a little exchange. And the actress playing her, dressed like her, started laughing like that.
Oh, I mean, it's her.
And then she looked at her and she said, "Do I really sound like that?" And they both laughed, and they both do. Well, yeah. And I think it's
so she knows.
Well,
she's just
right. I think it's.
Do I really laugh like that? Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me back it up. Let me back it up. It's right. There it is. And then they say, "Do I really laugh like that?"
So she's aware of how she sounds to other people.
She's got to be.
I think she must be surrounded by hangers-on that are afraid to tell her, Mrs. Clinton or Senator Clinton. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Senator, or whatever they call her now,
Secretary Clinton.
You might want to just
tone it down.
Well, find a different way to display your fake humanness.
But what is the deal with that? Is that just one of those nervous tics?
Oh, I could tell she's definitely a little nervous, and she starts to get more talkative when
there's something really wrong with that laugh.
Oh, well, there's a lot of people either on Twitter or maybe the comment section of the Yahoo articles I read. They are very, and when I mean they, I mean the right and the left. People who would normally support her because they're Democrats are like, I just can't take how annoying she sounds. But they may not point out the laughter. But when you hear the laughter, you're like, okay, that's the straw right there. That's the straw that people are just not able to handle. That cackle is just horrendous. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, the new. Well, since we're talking about Hillary, we kind of got away from the CNN debate. We'll get back to it, but real quick, news on Hillary. She wanted to respond on Trump. And did you hear about the oh gosh, we're all over the place. The Trump news. He was at a
yeah, I got it.
The controversy.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so do you want to play the controversy?
Yeah,
real quick?
He was on Meet the Press.
Yeah,
talking about Muslims.
And I'm going to get back to why, even though Carly Fiorina, a lot of people are saying she won the debate. All the polls say that Trump won the debate.
Right.
I want to explain to you guys why I believe that an argument can be made for both. But
okay, fair enough.
But after that, a series of Trump controversies came out, and some of them were just completely made up.
Well, this one where he's on Meet the Depressed.
Last week?
And this
before the debates?
Yeah, this is about the Muslim thing.
Oh, that was this week.
Yeah,
this week. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And you could just hear, I left him in there having the discussion back and forth with the debater. I mean the newsman.
Oh,
and
okay.
The commentator.
Yeah, the commentator's always going to try to debate him.
So here's the thing, but just listen to it and listen to the way he's being talked to by the depressed.
Can you imagine supporting or being comfortable if a Muslim ever became president of the United States?
I can say that, it's something that at some point could happen. We'll see. I mean, it's something that could happen. Would I be comfortable? I don't know if we have to address it right now, but I think it is certainly something that could happen.
You said you'd had no problem putting a Muslim in your cabinet.
Some people have said it already happened, frankly, but of course you wouldn't agree with that.
Actually, let's get to that. Why won't you concede that the president is a Christian and that the president was born in the United States?
Because I don't talk about people's faith. Now, in all fairness, he said he was a Christian, and he said he is a Christian. He attended the Church of Reverend Wright. And
these are all things I said on Twitter.
Take him at his word for that. I have no problem with that.
Well, why not take the birth certificate at its word?
Because it's not real.
No. Discuss it. I mean, frankly, when you get into these subjects, I want to talk about jobs. I want to talk about the military. I want to talk about the vets, and frankly, how badly they're treated. They're treated like third-class citizens. We're treating the.
But this commentator wants to talk about Obama's birth certificate.
We treat our vets. And those are the things that I want to talk about. The other is a long, complex subject that I just don't like talking about, and I won't talk about it.
Don't you think you would have people more open to your message on jobs and the economy and things like that if you sort of put that other thing to rest?
No, Chuck. I don't
How can he put it to rest?
Two things that are totally different. I just don't discuss it, and really it hasn't been brought up for a long time. I mean, you're bringing it up this morning, but right. I'm into the world of jobs. I'm into the world of military and vets, and frankly, I discuss Obamacare because Obamacare, you see what's happening with the premiums. They're going through the roof. A lot of problems with Obamacare.
See, but they don't want to talk about those things. We'll keep this on.
Let's walk it through logically. Barack Obama, it is journalistic malpractice to lie the way that guy just lied. He tried to say.
Why don't you put it to rest?
Well, no. He said that. What about the birth certificate?
You know it's real.
That is an absolute lie. It was absolutely proven
by the company who makes the software that edited it.
The woman. There's a woman who, the Adobe Photoshop person who invented Photoshop.
So they probably are an expert on what they invented.
I would think so.
Okay.
They know exactly how it works.
I'm going to have to take her word for that.
Yeah, she pointed out a slew of proof that the birth certificate was doctored in a whole bunch of...
You're a birther.
Yeah, a whole bunch of things that were totally doctored. Listen, here's the thing about birthers. Birthers may... we have to define what a birther is. If a birther is somebody who is skeptical about where he was born because we haven't seen proof, then yeah, okay, I'm a birther. Some people say that birthers will say, we know you were not born in America. We don't know that either. But it is journalistic malpractice to say that any kind of a real long-form birth certificate was ever shown. It was fake! Yeah. I can't believe that Barack Obama just kind of ignored the news that it was completely fake. The media covered for him by not covering the fact that it was fake. It was proven fake. So that was a lie. The media is lying to you. That being said, knowing full well that we have no proof of where he was born, I think it's healthy to be skeptical of whether or not he's even eligible to be president. I can understand why he won't go down that road now, but I hope that if Donald Trump becomes president, he can use the fact that we've never been verified whether or not we had a legitimate 43rd president, or 44th? 44th president who signed all kinds of legislation, treaties, all kinds of stuff. All of that stuff could be made null and void if we could... If we can all agree that if we don't have...
You would set back the cause of communism.
Well, that's kind of our point here at Smith Radio.
I was told it was supposed to be rainbows and bumblebees.
Oh, communism?
Yeah.
Well, you will be told that.
Bumblebees ain't no good. Rainbows and gumdrops.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. You will be told that.
Okay.
Because they have to tell you that.
Oh.
It's called propaganda.
Oh.
It's the only thing they can do to get Obama... or communism implemented is to lie to you.
Ted Cruz said this week on, it might have been Hannity's show, he said that if he was elected president, he would sit there for the first month, the first few days, whatever it took, to remove all the illegal executive orders. That Obama signed.
Sure. Yeah, get rid of all the illegal executive orders. But
I had some people come at me about Ted Cruz when I propped him up, and I said I like the way. Well, he's not a birthright citizen.
there is an argument about Cruz and Rubio. They said if you're going to be consistent, then they aren't eligible either.
Well, but we're not being consistent. Obama's president, and he don't even have his birth certificate.
Yeah, but two wrongs don't make a right, is what their argument is.
Well, but we are right.
So that's going to be an issue with all the birthers and all these people that have a particular definition of what a natural born citizen is. For those of you that are listening that are like, what are you talking about? Okay, so there's this movement of people who are correcting. This is from the I really don't know. They make a very compelling argument, extremely compelling. You should go look it up on YouTube. The argument is that natural born citizen is not the same as natural born citizen is not just that you were born on American soil and now you're eligible to become president.
Correct.
Their argument is that when the founders used the phrase natural born, that what they were specifically referring to was somebody who was born on U.S. soil, not just to anybody, but to two, not one, but two U.S. naturalized citizens. So they don't have to be natural born.
The grandparents could have come over on a boat,
right?
Had their kids,
yep.
And then
no. They had to become citizens first.
Right, no, the grandparents. Right, the grandparents come over.
The
Hold on, I'm
going
going to go three down. I'm going to go
three down. Right.
Grandparents come over.
Right.
They get the documents. They become citizens. They're real. They have a child.
Okay.
That child's not eligible.
Why not?
But that child's child is.
No. That child will be eligible. As long as the two parents are both citizens.
Okay.
They don't
have to be born here. They just have to be citizens.
And the child has to be born
So Ted
in America.
Cruz and Rubio's, both their parents are not full-blooded citizens?
They weren't citizens when they were born. I don't even know if they're citizens now. Sorry, I didn't
That's
do it.
probably why people are fired up. It's because they're probably not citizens now.
But when you think of the case, they show the case. There's several videos out there on YouTube that walk you through the case for what natural born means. But if I were to found a country, and my understanding of what different countries are, separated by borders, different cultures of people who could go to war with you, there could be espionage, there could be issues with treason, allegiance. You know, those are really important things when you're talking about countries. And me personally, I would definitely make it a point that anybody eligible to be president would have to be somebody born of two American citizens, because a big part of who you are is how you were raised.
Okay, well,
so Brian's got something. What do you got?
The question is Senator Ted Cruz, who was born in Canada,
oh, well, that's totally
eligible to be president?
Of course not. I didn't know he was born in Canada.
Answer. Here's the answer. This is factcheck.org.
Oh,
fact-check.org.
Of course it is.
Here's the answer. Most likely.
What? Dude, come on.
The legal consensus of legality. The legal consensus
on
is
a 5-4 decision.
You can do what feels good.
Well, you definitely could murder human beings.
Oh yeah,
5-4 vote or 6-3 or whatever it was. Roe v. Wade.
And even if you feel
murder is now legal.
Well, and men are allowed to penetrate men. That's legal.
Oh, that's right.
So Cruz qualifies because he was born to a U.S. citizen living abroad, making him a U.S. citizen at birth. I don't know, man. That's it.
Oh, you're thinking of that's the John McCain defense. John McCain's parents were in the military when he was born.
Right, so that's a little different.
And he was born in Panama.
Right.
And people are like, well, John McCain's not a citizen either.
Okay,
but actually, it's a U.S. It's U.S. soil.
Okay, the U.S. Constitution requires the president to be a natural-born citizen. Article 2, Section 1. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to office. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office and shall not have... Okay, so any...
They never define what natural-born means.
Right. No, that's Article 2, Section 1. It says a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States.
Right, and at the time, not you have to say the whole thing. It's really important because a citizen of the United States at the time of the founding.
Yeah, at the time of the adoption of this Constitution.
Right, and
Correct.
the reason that's important is because you don't want to make ineligible all the founders. So all the founders of the Constitution are all eligible to be president.
Right, sure.
And then once they all are dead and gone, that part of the Constitution is now irrelevant.
Well, and we even made it the point that if you're a communist, full-fledged Russian red diaper baby communist with your communist wife, and you sneak into America through Mexico, and you just walk across the border at Mexico border,
and you chuck the anchor out of the boat.
Right. Well, she might not. Yeah, she could be pregnant or not even pregnant.
Okay.
Whatever the case may be, but you get here to America, she has a baby in America. It will be raised full-fledged red diaper baby.
Right, kind of like Obama.
And now you're saying he's eligible, Obama, to be president?
Or it could
we got problems
here. It could be two radical Muslim terrorists,
which are
who dropped anchor
more likely now than Russia. More likely now than
oh yeah, that's the real threat as far as I mean, look at the way Obama was raised, his mentors and everything. Here's a guy whose parents, grandparents, and mentors were carefully weaved a path for him to not. I mean, it's amazing the needle that they threaded, because they were going to be, as communists in the Joseph McCarthy era, they were probably going to be labeled treasonous or whatever.
Right.
Supporting communists, Russia, whatever. We're talking during the time of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who got executed for giving the nuke secrets to Russia, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, during the assassination of JFK, who was killed by a guy who defected America to Russia.
Right, right.
What if Lee Harvey Oswald, which a lot of people listening right now have no clue that he defected to Russia, that was kept secret from everybody because they were afraid that if it was
a Russian communist killed the president.
Yeah, everybody was scared.
Freak out.
Everybody was scared that the public would demand that we go to full-fledged nuclear World War III against Russia for murdering our president.
Right.
Or for assassinating him. So anyway, imagine if he had a wife who supported him full-fledged, and then they had a child. They remained in America and raised it to be an America-hating communist. He would be eligible to be the president if you agree that natural-born citizens are, the way that the left consider it. But my argument is that you should have some sort of a reasonable expectation that the president of the United States was raised by two parents who love America and love the Constitution and who reject communism.
Right.
And the only way you can have that expectation is if you know that the parents were U.S. citizens at the time he was born.
Right.
Or she.
Well, and this is what our free press, our media, is supposed to do for the citizens. It's supposed to help us vet out who is and who isn't suited to be the president of the United States.
Well, let me ask you this, Brian. Should we allow a 4-star general? Or is there a 5-star in the Army? There might be a 5-star.
Yeah, there have been. Well, definitely in the Navy. And they might, I don't know if they have them anymore, but we'll call it out.
They got bars. They got bars on their shoulders, the Navy people. Okay, so would you be cool with the Admiral of the Navy, in charge of everything, all the ships? would you be cool with him being, I don't know, born in a country that's an enemy of ours?
No.
With parents that... So why is it okay if we have the person running the whole country?
Well, that would make it even worse. We got Fleet Admiral William D. Leahy, 5-star general of the Army Air Force.
Okay.
Back before 48.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I think there's one. I think in the Army only they have 5-star generals. In the Marine Corps, it goes up to 4-star. It's because, I guess, you're going to be in charge of everything. I don't know. We're getting in a little bit of uncharted territory military-wise.
No, but when you're talking about military members...
What kind of members?
Well, because you and I both know how hard it is to achieve the rank of 4 or 5-star general. I mean, and you're in charge.
At that point, you're a politician.
Right, and we talked about this last week. You're full-fledged, your heart and soul, for the most part, you're sold into the American government, the American way of life, the American military. I mean, that's just your life. Every aspect, they've created, shaped, and made you. So if you were born from, like, one of my good friends in the Air Force with me was born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
And Puerto Rico is a province of America.
So regardless of how you were raised, what about the Fort Hood shooter? He was a major. That's pretty high rank.
Yeah, and the problem I have with him is that he was an outspoken Muslim and nobody said anything about it.
Let's talk about that then. Got a little thing in the stack here. Ben Carson.
Uh-oh, breaking
This
news. Is breaking.
This is
3 hours ago.
Let's talk about that. So Ben Carson just today was being interviewed, and he said that Muslims should not be qualified to become president.
Because they are against the Constitution of America.
Did you read that?
Yeah, that was his part. That was his whole point, was that they couldn't be holden to and uphold the Constitution over their Muslim origins.
Well, the left is just hosing their shorts over
seething.
This. They're hosing their shorts over this. They're excited about it. So let's read what they had to say. Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson says Islam is antithetical to the Constitution, and he doesn't believe that a Muslim should be elected president. Carson, a devout Christian, says a president's faith should matter to voters if it runs counter to the values and principles of America. So we're getting into rocky waters here. Responding to a question during an interview broadcast Sunday on NBC's Meet the Depressed, he described the Islamic faith as inconsistent with the Constitution. Now, I've said this. I've actually made this argument a lot in comment sections of
and I know
YouTube
I didn't use the word inconsistent, but I paraphrase saying that the Constitution would not be. They would look at their faith and the Constitution, and they throw the Constitution out. They'd be like, my faith is more.
Or they may believe in certain principles that are totally unconstitutional.
Or they could be like Obama and completely ignore the Constitution. Because he is Muslim.
Is that what Trump said?
Breaking.
Oh, no, that was Trump's supporter.
Right.
Which he did, since he didn't correct him. Dude, what's up with the... Okay, I'm going to go on with this. All right, quote. This is Ben Carson now. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation, Carson said. I absolutely would not agree with that. He did not specify in what way Islam ran counter to the constitutional principles. I've done that before.
It's not that hard.
I know. What, Sharia law?
Let's just talk about freedom.
There's people in charge of cities in the country who are trying to implement Sharia law in the cities.
We'll get to Dearborn. We'll get to Dearborn, Michigan before the night's up.
All right.
Yeah.
So Carson's comments drew strong criticism from the country's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization,
CARE?
the Council on American Islamic Relations, better known as CARE. We care so much.
We care so much. Snuggle bunnies.
Okay, quote. To me, this really means he is not qualified to be president of the United States, said the group spokesman, Ibrahim Hooper. Quote, you cannot hold these kinds of views and at the same time say that you will represent all Americans of all faiths and backgrounds.
I will represent all Americans of all faiths and backgrounds. However,
I don't want you to be president.
I don't want you to be president
because you're Muslim, right?
But you won't recognize yourself as being an American. So how can I recognize you as an American if you don't even recognize yourself as being an American?
They need to assimilate by dropping the Muslim faith.
Well, no, I'm not saying. Okay, what I am saying is that if you do not accept the fact that you will stand up and defend this country and the principles and the values that it was founded upon, and the Constitution has been laid out, if you will not fight to the death for that, sorry, I can't recognize you.
Guess what? The left is making that exact argument against Carson. Okay, so here's what they say. Hooper, the CARE spokesman, said the Constitution expressly forbids religious tests for those seeking public office and called for the repudiation of, quote, these un-American comments. In a separate appearance on NBC, one of Carson's rivals for the GOP nomination, Ohio Governor John Kasich, who I am just done with,
Kasich's out,
was asked whether he would have a problem with a Muslim in the White House. Quote, the answer is, at the end of the day, you always love people saying, at the end of the day, you've got to go through the rigors. The people will look at everything. But for me, the most important thing about being president is you have leadership skills. And that includes people like Osama bin Laden, who will lead 19 hijackers to train for 12 years to fly people into the... No, I'm adding all that because...
I got blood shooting out of my wherever.
At the point where I got to leadership...
Right.
He did say that, and that's pretty much all he said. So that's interesting. So all you need is leadership. You know what, quote, you know what you're doing, and you can help fix this country and raise this country. Those are the qualifications that matter to me. But I'm like, dude, all he did was throw out leadership. It's like, okay. I mean, Osama bin Laden was a great leader. So are a bunch of Islamic terrorists.
My 7-year-old daughter mentioned something about Attila the Hun.
Okay.
I said, what? What? What are you talking about, sister?
What are you talking about?
Where did you hear that? And I asked the wife, I said, are you teaching a 7-year-old about Attila the Hun? She's like, no, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was in Moulin Rouge in a movie.
Okay.
I said, really? Let me tell you who Attila the Hun was. Let's look it up.
Okay.
I lay it down. And I said, oh, by the way, there's another guy called Genghis Khan. We talk about him, too.
Genghis Khan.
He's
a leader.
Yeah, he was a leader, and they are crediting him for, and this is Wiki. The
best solid reference ever.
They are giving him credit for upwards of around 40 million deaths.
Yeah, but did you know that they, like Ancestry.com or something like that, linked him to the ancestry of
everybody.
They said, I think it was like 60% of all Asians descend from Genghis Khan or something like that, which means that he procreated more than he killed.
Oh,
there's the argument. It's okay to slaughter masses of people as long as you replace them. It's like trees.
So that's where they were talking. They were talking about that and saying all the good things that he brought to the Mongolians.
Just think, if he didn't slaughter all those people and take over all that land, he wouldn't have been able to procreate those people.
They said he embraced religious diversity.
Did he?
That's what he said. He said because he knew that if he didn't, it was easier to keep the people at bay, keep the control over the people if you let them have their religious diversity.
It sounds like a liberal communist that said something like that. Wow. So Carson's comments came amid lingering fallout over Republican Donald Trump's refusal last week to take issue with a man during a campaign event who, this is where AP lies. Listen to this. Who wrongly called President Barack Obama a Muslim and said Muslims are a problem in the country. Okay.
That's the sound clip I played earlier.
Wrongly.
That is the sound clip we played earlier. It was of Donald Trump, and the reason why the sound clip sounded bad is because a friend of mine on YouTube videotaped it with his cell phone because you can't get that anywhere.
Oh, they're trying to
You can't get the video anywhere.
Okay. Well, listen, this is the author writing this. The author said that Donald Trump refused last week to have issue with a man during a campaign event who wrongly called that's editorializing. And the reason I say that is because I'm not really sure.
Is it
there's a
wrongly?
lot of evidence that Barack Obama is. I mean, I think he's an atheist myself.
Well,
but we don't really know what he is.
It's the thing is, ask a Muslim, and they'll tell you he's Muslim.
That's the argument I made on Twitter today.
That's all I got.
Muslims believe that Barack Obama's a Muslim.
Now, you know me very well, and you are Catholic.
Mm-hmm, right.
Am I a Catholic?
No, you're not Catholic.
Well, but if you called me a Catholic, and I told you I'm not, then we have a dispute here, maybe.
Yeah, like, dude, you're Catholic. What are you talking about?
Okay, then you would tell me, you would say, Brian, here's why you're a Catholic.
Okay.
Because this, and this.
Okay.
As a Muslim, I can lay out, boom, 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 this, and this, of why he's a Muslim.
Right. They believe that if your father is a Muslim and he had birth to you, wait, no, that would be the other way around. If he fathered you.
Yeah, they believe that wholeheartedly that the fathering aspect is of the father.
You know the sound effects are being broadcast.
I know.
Yeah, so anyway, so if you father a child and you're a Muslim, that child is Muslim. Period.
Right.
That's the argument that Barack Obama could be Muslim. And the argument against that would be, well, if he doesn't believe in Islam, then he's not Muslim, which I'm totally on board with that argument too. But that's the reason why so many Muslims say that Barack Obama's Muslim. If you look at his actions, his completely inexplicable hatred of Israel and Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, and their existence as a Jewish state in the Middle East. I mean, what is that? Why does he just randomly get into office and just put Netanyahu on blast whenever he can? I mean, there's some questions that are raised when you look at that behavior.
Right.
So there's that. There's a whole bunch of other things that kind of call into question the fact that, I mean, does he even go to church? His pastor, Reverend Wright, is a complete. There's no religion there. It's all about bashing America and bashing white people.
Right. Well, and at Reverend Wright's church, in their bylaws, if you will, in their doctrine, their paperwork, you can join their church and be of any faith.
So a Muslim can join his church?
Absolutely.
Well, hold on, but do they get to stay Muslim?
Yes. Somebody called into the office and was talking to the lady and asked her, okay, I'm a Muslim, but I'd still like to come to your church. Is that fine?
Well,
and she said, okay.
They wouldn't kick you out of a Catholic church if you were Muslim.
Well, there's a fee.
Okay.
To be at Reverend Wright's church, so you pay the due. It's like an association, like a HOA dues. You got to pay dues.
So it's
to the
more
man.
like a fraternity,
yes,
than a religion.
Yes.
Okay, a fraternity.
It's a fraternity of hate towards America.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and in the Quran, it says you must lie at all cost to move our movement forward. What's the word I'm looking for? To propel Islam throughout the world.
It's like you're tricking people into going along with it.
By hook or by crook, whatever it takes. And if they still don't, then I kill you. Cut their head off.
Okay.
I kill you.
Well, you have to kill them if they don't convert because that's the only way you can win.
Right. So, hey, you want to be Islamic? No, I don't. Oh!
Well,
I just lost
one more
my
chance,
head.
but before I ask you again, I'm required to kill you if you don't.
And if I don't have a sword around, by the way, they're doing this right now. Every 5 minutes, a Christian is being either put up on a cross, hung, or beheaded in the Middle East right now. every 5 minutes.
You know, when I was growing up, I looked at the crucifixion and then other, people that were being crucified and all that kind of stuff, similar to doing the stake,
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, impaling people. It's so barbaric. It's nothing that we'll ever see again in my lifetime.
Well, until now.
And it's just shocking that it's happening. But anyway, so Carson's in trouble. I don't, and when I say in trouble, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that there's a movement now, thanks to Donald Trump, where people are just going to say, you know what, to hell with it. We're going to say what we really think about Islam. We're going to say what we want to think, or what we think about illegal Mexicans or any illegal immigrants, border insecurity, national sovereignty. All that stuff is just so important to people. When Trump says it, and it's like the most it's political suicide, some of the things that he said. If you think about historically in the past 20 years, some of the stuff he's saying would be political suicide. The fact that he says it and gains popularity, people are just fed up. They want to hear this stuff. They want people to act on it. And Ben Carson, it sounds like, out of the blue, saying something like this, sounds to me like he's going to attempt to tap into that.
So apparently Ben Carson during the debate kind of did a little stick to Trump. And then Trump looked back at him and said, yeah, you're right. It's okay. I still like you. And he reached over and shook his hand.
I think he gave him a high five or something. Oh, it was the Iraq thing.
Right.
Because
did you vote? There's people here that didn't.
Well, okay, so
partake in
here's
that.
What happened at the debates, in case you didn't hear it. Trump said, I'm the only one up here on this whole stage that opposed the Iraq war. And I'm thinking, why is he? Dude, I know that Rand Paul did.
Right, pull the brake.
Right. So I was like, Rand Paul's not going to let this stand. Because the first debates, he tried the same thing, and Rand Paul spoke up the first debate.
Right.
So, of course, he's going to speak up again. And, of course, Rand Paul raises his hand. He's like, can I comment? Can I comment? That's the problem with Rand Paul, is his voice is terrible. He sounds like a whiny little kid.
But here's the whole point, though.
Ben Carson said something later and said, oh, by the way, I just want to point out that I was against the Iraq war, too. And they were right next to each other. Trump and Ben Carson were right side by side. As soon as he said that, Donald Trump threw up his hand for a high five, and
they showed a picture of them shaking hands. That might have been after the debate,
or maybe he held his hand out.
Right.
There were two different high fives. It might have been the vaccine thing.
Oh yeah. Yep. I heard about that one. So they showed a picture of Donald Trump and Ben Carson side by side.
Yeah.
And had a title of so it begins, kind of like a friendship, a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were trying to say, okay, here's Prez and VP, President and Vice President. I don't know where they're going.
I really hope Ben Carson gets an important position out of this.
It looked like, oh my goodness, I could vote for that.
A Trump Carson ticket?
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because I think Carson would certainly balance the wild brashness of Trump.
They're like polar opposites.
Right. But at the same time, fighting for the same cause.
Yes, they do have a lot in common. And do you want to hear? Okay, so Carly Fiorina was declared by. It's funny. All the people that watched the debate, vast majority of them declared Trump the winner. They all went on these polls, and they had to click on who the winner was. And all of them had Trump winning by a long shot.
Well, CNN came out with their own little thing.
Did they?
Yeah. CNN, 72 hours
They
afterwards.
Interrogated a bunch of people.
CNN just released its first poll debate survey results, and they show a major shuffle of support happening across the board in the GOP primary battle. The survey took place in the 72 hours. The debate included 1,006 adult Americans, 924 of whom are registered voters, 444 of whom are Republicans and independents who lean toward Republican Party. Donald Trump dropped 8% from 32 to 24 from his support of the previous poll. Carly Fiorina surged from 3% to 15%.
Well, that's a very, very good
That's
jump.
a big surge.
That's a big jump.
And is now a full point ahead of Ben Carson, who sits at third at 14. Marco
Right.
Rubio is fourth. Jeb Bush sank to a fifth.
Well, I have the truth for you guys if you guys want to hear it.
Because that was CNN, the Calamity News Network.
I'm not calling CNN a liar, but they're missing something big.
That's their own. And who knows what the question was?
No, I believe that. That's true. So Trump dropped a little bit in his overall support, I think, maybe. I'm not. If that's what they say, I'll believe that.
I've seen polls that are different than this, though.
That's true. No, but overwhelmingly, Trump's still in the lead. That's
Right.
number one. Here's two things. Two important points that everybody needs to know that CNN conveniently left out. Number one, Fiorina's rise corresponds to Ben Carson's drop, which means that Ben Carson's supporters went to Fiorina, not Trump supporters.
Why?
Oh, because maybe the people that were supporting Ben Carson were already like, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not. I don't like Trump. I don't want to vote for him. I'm done with Trump. So I'm supporting Carson. Carson had a pretty lackluster performance.
His performance was kind of.
While Fiorina had an awesome performance, she really
Right,
did. She
right.
even Trump said right after the debate she did really very, very well.
Okay, well,
So
good.
yeah, he said it right after. That was like the first thing out of his mouth after the.
You know,
debate
that's
was
something
over.
else about Trump, and I don't know if that's. I'm just assuming that's his character and who he is. But even like with Rick Perry, when Rick Perry dropped out, he's like, "Hey, he's a good man."
Well, yeah,
he's
because
a good man. You know, I know.
I think he likes all the.
I know. I
people
said.
on the right.
I said something to you. I said something about your face. Come on.
I think he was caught with his pants down.
Whoa.
Well,
Are we talking about Bill Clinton?
No, what I'm saying is he was befriended. He hung out with journalists from, was it Rolling Stone or something like that?
Yep.
Okay. So he hung out with journalists from Rolling Stone all week while he took notes. And, you know, he got him to loosen the tie up a little bit.
And let me tell you, when you're on the set of a Hollywood show and they start feeding you whatever they're giving you, and now all of a sudden they're your buddy, chilling.
Yep.
Hey man, don't print that. Come on, I'm just joking.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I won't do that. Don't worry.
Hey, this is off the record, but you know.
Look at that face.
That's right.
Look at that face.
Yeah, so of course he's like, "Oh, I got him now." It was a gotcha piece.
And that's the only thing that came out of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's it.
The whole time they could have written.
They hung out with him for a whole week trying to find out if we can figure out a way to get him a gotcha.
And they did. They got him.
Yeah. So and let me tell you something. Fiorina was the only one that was successful in standing up to Trump. When Jeb Bush tried to stand up to Trump,
He put a smackdown on him.
Trump made Jeb look so bad. It was unbelievable. Jeb Bush, his presidency was ended by Donald Trump in the last debate. There's just no way. The only reason he's going to stick around is two things. His support is going to be for people who either are so low information that they're like, Bush,
or they're running.
That name rings a bell.
Is he running again?
Oh, Bush. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and vote for him because that's the name I know.
Well, it sounds like a presidential candidate.
That's one supporter. The other supporter is, I know Clinton's going to win on the DNC side. So we got to get Bush to win so we could have a Clinton-Bush showdown. Woo! I'm telling you, and the media, they can't wait for that showdown.
Is it...
Oh, my gosh. So there's a cartoon of Trump.
It's a giant elephant.
No, it's a pig.
Well, why is it gray?
I don't know.
Well, it's an elephant for Republican. So it's a huge, giant elephant.
It looks like a pig.
No, look at the tail. It's an elephant with a pig's face on it.
Okay.
And all white hair. That's supposed to be Trump.
Right.
And he says, look at that face looking at Carly.
Carly Fiorina.
During the debate.
Okay. So Carly, let me tell you something. Carly, I think, performed the best, but she was so far behind and Trump is so far ahead. I don't really look at that as, oh, look out, Trump.
No.
Fiorina's coming.
Yeah, no.
Look, Fiorina absolutely needed that kind of performance, and she nailed it in every way, shape, and form. That's fine. That doesn't mean she won the debate.
No.
The way that Trump destroyed everybody else except for Carly Fiorina, and also I'm going to add two.
So
other
you're saying
things.
maybe he kind of took the gloves off, or kept the gloves on for her?
Oh, he stayed out. As soon as she said, and she nailed him, and when she nailed him, his response made him look even worse. So basically what happened was, the question was, Trump said you're an ugly tramp, and
Yeah, this is how CNN
Yes, yeah.
narrates this.
he said that you were ugly as a stump, and blah.
He said you fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch.
right.
Butterface.
You were hit by the ugly stick.
No, an ugly trunk.
You were beat up by an ugly. So this is how CNN was asking question. Do you want to look over at Trump right now and tell him what you think of him?
Oh,
This is
no.
like almost literally how it went.
I've got a quote from I got Mark Levin on soundbite for this, though, by the way. Go ahead.
Well, before I tell you what her answer was, earlier, Trump nailed Bush by pointing out that Bush said something that was going to hurt him. And Bush tried to respond to it by saying, well, you know where I really stand. You guys know, it was on women's issues. He said something about women's issues that Trump pointed out was going to hurt him, and he even said, I don't know why he said it. I heard him say it. I don't know why he said it, because I knew it was going to hurt him. So Bush responded by saying, look, regardless of what I said, you all know I have a long storied history of supporting women's issues. Trump interrupts him by saying, well, then why did you say it?
Right.
And I thought that was the best.
Why would you
thing.
if you have to tell people that you are a diehard capitalist or that you are a diehard socialist, if you have to tell people who you are, you probably aren't that person.
Right. So he was trying to say, look at my record, look at my record, look at my record. No. And Trump kept repeating, well, why did you say it? Why did you say it? Why? And as they were talking over each other, I'm like, yeah, I don't care if you hate Trump and you're the biggest Bush fanboy ever. This makes Bush look so bad, and it makes Trump look so common sense.
Right.
Why did you say it?
Right.
Okay. So Carly Fiorina responds by saying
To Trump,
well, he's over there saying, why did he say it to Bush? Everybody heard what he said about me, so that's where I'm going to leave it. And it just, the whole place erupted in cheers.
Oh, she rose above it.
Oh, so
Good for her.
Well,
She
not
took
only
the
that,
high road.
but she used his own words
Right.
against Trump, against Bush, against
Right.
Trump. And so as they're cheering, you could see the look in Trump's face. He knew he was got.
Yeah.
So you know what he said? He decided to
accept it?
No, he decided to try to throw something in there to save face.
Oh, try to save it.
And he interrupts the crowd cheering by saying, no, I just want to say, Carly, you got a beautiful face. You're a beautiful woman. That's what he said. And
That was
and
stupid.
Carly had a grimace on her face when he said it, like I wish there was a camera on me right now so I could show everybody at home, but it was a
Let me tell you,
grimace.
I'm looking right now, and it ain't looking pretty.
And it got silent, and it just his response to you got a pretty face, you got a beautiful face.
That's creepy.
It fell flat on its face. No pun intended.
Right.
But so anyway, so that I feel like was the only time in the entire Trump candidacy that anybody trying to stand up to Trump actually worked. And there was also a moment where Fiorina almost came to tears about the abortion Planned Parenthood thing. And those two things was what. Oh, and also her closing argument. My gosh,
By the way,
Reagan-esque.
By the way, she is a former cancer survivor.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes her that much stronger.
Okay. So she just seemed unbelievably presidential. And I pointed that out when I was doing my Twitter feed. If you guys were watching it or watching my Twitter feed during the debates, I said, man, she looks very presidential right now when she was giving her closing argument. It looked like something. It reminded me when Reagan was president. When Reagan was president, he would sit there with his tie and his makeup and his hair perfect in front of the camera, stiff as a statue, and just saying it right, looking right into the camera. And that was what I looked at as a president growing up. It was very presidential the way he would deliver everything. And they called him the great communicator. The very next day, there was an article on the internet calling Fiorina the great communicator.
I think I've got a 58-second clip of her on her clothes.
If you get to it, that's cool. Okay. We can listen to it. But so that's what I thought about Fiorina. Is that a reason why I thought she won the debate? I thought she performed the best, but everybody's doing different things. Somebody like Rand Paul needs to have a performance like Fiorina. Somebody like Huckabee needed to be noticed, and he just was completely ignored. Those guys were big losers. Bush needed to stand up to Trump. He failed miserably. So Bush was a big loser. Why do I think Trump won the debate? Number one, he did at least what he was supposed to do performance-wise. That's number one. And am I lowering the bar for him? Not yet. Hear me out, people. So he did what he needed to do. He also came off, he dropped the angry guy thing that I thought he overdid in the first debate. He got away with it big time in the first debate, and everybody said he won. I actually tweeted out during the first debate that I thought his anger during the whole debate, I mean, he was just angry. I thought, ooh, this is going to be used against him. The media is going to have a field day with him. And it turns out the public really responded to it.
Well, do you realize how angry the average citizen is?
Right. So it was like they are all living vicariously through Trump's candidacy. However, he's leading, he's out front, he's surging, he's popular. I didn't think he needed to be so angry in the second one, and he did temper it. He did a great job on that. Does that win it for him? No. I'll tell you why he won the debate. When he was challenged on the vaccines,
oh, yes,
he eventually came to a consensus or agreement with the only most respected doctor on the stage.
That's probably when they shook his hand.
They came to a consensus on the vaccines. They were trying to destroy Trump about his stance on vaccines, and they went straight to Ben Carson. They said, Dr. Ben Carson, you're the doctor here. What do you say?
Won't you let Trump have it?
So Ben Carson very gently said, well, there are some studies out there that say that they're not linked. But for the most part, Ben Carson, they said, okay, we can't get Ben to tell Trump that he's a moron. Let's go to the other doctor, Dr. Rand Paul. You know what he said? He said, well, there's studies that say that there is, and they're out there trying to hide it.
Oh,
so
no!
He agreed. That's all right. That's the one.
So it made the CNN guy look stupid.
No, it subconsciously. Nobody's talking about this. Subconsciously, it verified Trump's position on it.
Oh, wow!
The other one, Trump, you're a moron by thinking that that people who aren't born in America are not citizens. Are you misinterpreting the 14th Amendment? Okay, so of course,
wow.
Of course, Trump has a perfect answer. He said, there's going to be a fight over this because I think that there's a lot of really smart constitutional scholars out there who agree with and the articles have been written that agree that people born in America are not automatically birthright citizenship, and that the 14th Amendment does not guarantee birthright citizenship just because you're born on American soil. And at one point, I think it was Carly Fiorina said, so you agree that there's going to be a fight on this? and that you don't necessarily agree wholeheartedly, that you just believe that there's going to be there. Oh, I knew what she said, that there's people that disagree.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, you had me all lost.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everybody listening. There are people out there who disagree with you, is what Carly Fiorina said.
Okay, and that's fine. That's
He
why
said,
there's going
I
to be
agree.
a fight. Yes,
He said, I agree. There are people out there that disagree. But here's where he won it. The only constitutional scholar in the room was Rand Paul.
And he said,
and I quote, Trump is right on this issue. Drop the mic, walk out the door. Dude, how does Trump not win the entire debate when the two big things that they were going to get him on gotchas on, the other candidates on the panel are agreeing with Trump, and not only agreeing with him, they're saying, "Yes, I agree with Trump." Wow, that is why nobody's talking about that. Not a single person.
Well, they don't want to
media.
because it looks too good for Trump.
Not in the GOP media.
Right.
Not in I haven't even heard Mark Levin, Donald Trump, or Rush Limbaugh, Hannity. Nobody is saying what I just said there, which is the reason he won is because the two big gotchas that they wanted to get him on, they had other candidates on the stage that came to his defense.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I agree 100%. Hey, speaking of Mark Levin, he was on the Sean Hannity show.
Okay.
And Hannity had a question for him. He said, talking about the debate, the WWE debate.
Oh, yeah, all week. Hannity is the only one that pointed out that...
He said it didn't move the needle for me on choosing a nominee either way.
Well, and here's the thing. I'll give Sean Hannity the credit for this because it was obvious to me that, and everybody else watching, that CNN wanted the people to engage each other, wanted the candidates to engage each other and talk directly to each other.
They wanted a circus.
They wanted them to debate against each other. And even, it was either Scott Walker or, it was probably Scott Walker that said it was clear early on in this debate that if you wanted to get notice, you needed to interrupt. Right. And so that's what he started doing, was interrupting, which was fine. If that's the format they wanted to do, whatever. But here's what Hannity pointed out that just made CNN, the whole thing look so bad. Sure, make them engage each other. If you want to have it like that, that's cool. I'm okay with that format. However, there was a deliberate ignoring of the time that each candidate got.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. When 44%, how many people were up there on stage?
11.
And 44% of it was absorbed either by Trump or talking about Trump
or to
Trump
or responding.
44, that's half.
Yeah.
And how does 11 people, one person gets almost half the time?
And a couple of candidates on there got as little as like 2%.
That's insane.
That's 1 out of 50. If there were 50 candidates up there, you should be happy with anything from 2% or above. You should be extremely happy with. Right. But there were 11.
That is crazy. So you want to hear what Mark Levin had to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Here's Mark Levin talking with Sean Hannity.
No, I agree with you. These attempts to instigate the fights over the most moronic things. By the way, I would remind the viewers, early in our history, what they used to say about each other was unbelievable, that this candidate was an adulterer, this candidate had babies out of wedlock, this stuff about somebody's face, that's small potatoes. Now, that said, I don't like this media instigated, you said this, and what do you think about that, and he didn't like your face, do you like your face? This is, for many of us, the country is at a precipice. We're looking into the abyss. There are major issues out there. This is not a format that really lends itself to a thoroughly serious discussion on the issues.
I agree.
And this is problematic, and this is something we need to think about as a Republican Party and as a people. I mean, Ted Cruz has given minimal amount of time because CNN is running a reality debate here, and they want as much food fight as possible. You've got two of the other contenders that take up a half hour. Scott Walker barely had any time. It's not a question of who I support or don't support. It doesn't matter, at least right now. And so I'm troubled by this. And so what I think we need to be able to do is, I want to hear 5 minutes from each candidate on Iran. I want to hear 5 minutes from each candidate on the border. I want to hear 5 minutes from each candidate on how to create jobs and create growth and economic opportunity in this country. There are many issues. They can be broken down very simply. But the reason the media don't want to do that, particularly networks like CNN, is it's not exciting. They want a pie fight. They want the Three Stooges. This is what they want.
Yeah.
Some of the candidates are better at navigating through this. Some of the candidates are better at muscling through and getting their sound bites in. But I don't really think it helps the Republic very much. I thought that was the worst 30 or 40 minutes of TV, of debate, of politics I'd ever heard or seen. I thought it was outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with anything he was saying. Every single question that was asked was for a candidate to respond to crap talking that another candidate said about him. What does that mean? That means that any candidate who didn't do any crap talking about another candidate didn't get called on.
Didn't get any time.
Didn't get any questions. Because there were no questions.
See, I made fun of nobody.
I
made fun of nobody. So I don't get
if somebody else made fun of you.
Oh, right.
Nobody made fun of Cruz, and Cruz didn't make fun of nobody. That's why
funny. He called this a food fight. They wanted a food fight. They wanted a pie in the eye. They wanted them throwing food back and forth, making fun of, talking fun of.
There was no care. CNN was all about ratings. And
did you hear about that?
That they got record ratings. Ridiculous
This
ratings.
is the highest rating show that CNN has ever had.
Wait a minute.
In 18 years.
I was going to say the Gulf War.
18 years.
The Gulf War, they had the entire world watching.
28 years.
Okay.
How long was the Gulf War?
It was 1990.
Yeah, 92. Yeah, they said 18 years.
Okay.
The highest rating show in 18 years. Well, it's the highest rating show versus coverage of news. I mean, it's one thing to cover the Iraq War.
It'd be like 15 years. Wasn't it 15 years ago?
If you're covering the Iraq War, I think that's a little different. The Gulf War. If you're covering the Gulf War, that's a little different. I think what they're talking about is that the actual shows that they have. Like Meet the Depressed or...
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because if there
I can't even name another show they have.
I don't even think they have Meet the Depressed. They have Anderson Cooper. Okay. He's on for 16 hours straight, live.
And then they play 10 hours of Hillary Clinton looped.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's called Clinton News Network originally. Now it's called Communist News Network. So whatever.
And I know Russia's called it Calamity News Network.
Oh,
at
okay.
times.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Remember, they were the ones that they were making fun of them because it was 24/7 coverage of that plane that crashed in the ocean.
That's all they had.
That's all they had.
They were looking for something.
But they had other things to cover, but they weren't interested.
They were going to go. They were either going to go out like Geraldo Revolto. They were either going to go out like him or they were going to find somebody's body in the ocean.
Okay.
Either way.
All right.
So check this out. Would you think that Middle America would be Iowa? Would you call Iowa?
Why not?
Like Middle America.
I mean, if I put my finger on the middle, I would probably hit Kansas.
Okay.
Oh well, Iowa's a little north of that.
Now I don't know. Would that be considered part of the Bible Belt?
No. The Bible Belt goes across the southern states.
Okay, a little bit further south. I would venture to say Iowa is probably a fairly conservative state, though.
Doesn't it always go red? I'm pretty sure it's a red state.
Well, there's a high school called Urbandale High School.
Okay.
Out in the middle of Iowa. And they were having a pep rally for their homecoming game and then the homecoming dance afterwards.
Okay.
And during the pep rally, the guy orchestrating the pep rally mentioned this. I want you to see what the crowd's reaction was to him mentioning that this was going to happen.
A couple of weeks ago, a government class got the idea that they'd like to have a presidential candidate attend our homecoming festivities. We hadn't really heard anything for a couple of weeks, and then through the course of last week, Alex Newbert wrote a letter to the Donald Trump campaign.
There's grumblings. There's some claps.
I'm pleased to tell you that due to our work of our second period government class and alternate government classes and Alex's letter, that at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, Donald Trump will be at Riverdale High School.
Oh, sweet. There's some cheers.
Dude, this goes on. And then they start chanting their high school mascot or something.
What do you say to do a little Jayhawk power? You're Jayhawk, your power. Jayhawk!
Okay, so then they start chanting Jayhawk power. Well, it was an invite only to hear him speak.
Okay.
And, you just listen to it.
Polls just came out. A poll just came out a little while ago. I wouldn't even say the numbers are so ridiculously high. I will tell you, actually. Trump, 36%. Yeah! This is called Morning Consult, very respected poll. Trump, 36. Ben Carson, 12. Nice guy. Carly Fiorina. Oh, get out of here.
He told her to get out of there.
10. Rubio, 9. Cruz. So that's, here's Reuters. Trump, 35%. Ben Carson, 14. Jeb, who's in favor of Common Core. That means your school next year, if he gets in, will be run directly from Washington. The principal and everybody else gone. And it will be gone. So Jeb is 8. You're not doing good. So we're doing well, right?
Okay, so that was a guy filming this with a potato cam.
Oh, geez.
And that was his ringer going off. But I left it in there because I wanted you to hear what the crowd booed Jeb Bush and Common Core.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. The thing about utopians, and trust me, the rhinos they've gotten sucked down the rabbit hole with the utopia visions of micromanaging everything. They think that everybody needs to be controlled and that there has to be a system set up, a government system that you must follow with regards to regulation, rules, and because we feel it's the best way.
Right.
Who was the one, might have been Bush, who said, well, if you don't like Common Core, you can come up with your own system.
Well, here's the problem, though. The federal government this week actually admitted, that they pushed Common Core onto the states.
Well, of course. Because I'll give you a perfect example.
But that's not legal, though, for them to force all the states to accept their version of schooling.
I don't know.
It's against the Constitution.
Is it?
Yes. The federal government cannot. Well, the entire education system is against the Constitution for the federal government. The federal government's job is not to educate the entire country and all our children. That's not their job.
Well, if you believe that the federal government has certain enumerated powers, meaning that you have to do exactly what they say in the Constitution and nothing more, then yeah, I guess I could see that.
Well, for them, for the federal government to have a single program called the Department of Education, and their one and only one job is to dictate what the children are to be taught, that in my mind is a major problem. Because now you're saying all 57 states.
Oh, did you hear what the 57 states came from?
No, I didn't. Hold on.
Okay.
Is my thought.
Yeah.
So all 57 states are now have to do exactly what the federal government wants, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. That's a problem in my mind. The reason why we have all these different states and the states have the power above the federal government is because then I can choose what state to live in based on whether it be Nevada or Florida because I'm retired and there's no state income tax, Or maybe I do make a lot of money and I love spending money and I'm a tree hugger, so I'll move to California. I mean, there's different flavors all across the country. Now you're saying that the federal government will dictate and mandate all education programs across the nation.
You're stuck. You have that takes away all freedom. You have no choice but to do what they say.
When we come full circle, we got more than one can of toothpaste on the shelf.
Right. We literally have one tube of toothpaste.
I just said can of toothpaste.
You know why? Because they
don't know you can put it in a tube.
Because nobody ever thought that would be better, and it's easier for them to put in a can, so it's going to be in a can.
Right.
Actually, that might be better. Now you could just take the bristles of your toothbrush and just dunk it down in there.
I think we invented.
Copyright Smith Radio.
So 57 states. Obama said back in the day, I've gone through all the states except for a few, and I'll get to the 57 total here in a minute.
Okay, so the states that he apparently was referring to was not the United States. The 57 Islamic states.
Oh!
Because there are 57
Islamic
No,
states.
but here's what... Actually, my dad's the one that pointed this out. So he was referring to the United States, right? But he slipped and said 57 instead of 50 because there are, in fact, 57 Islamic states.
I just started to Google. I said, what did Obama mean? And before I finished the word mean, it said, what did he mean by the 57 states?
So do we have an answer?
Obama said it came in the 57 states. True or fact? Well,
true or fact? Is it true or is it fact?
When he said, okay, the truth, the part about Obama referring to 57 states is true, but the quote is slightly different than presented by E-Rumor. He did not say he was going to campaign in 57 states, but that he already had. Oh, so he was going to go to more than one state. The campaign Obama said,
that doesn't make any sense.
It is just wonderful to be back in Oregon, and over the last 15 months, we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. So there's 58 states.
58 states. Wow.
His campaign said it was obviously a mistake. Nobody believed that he really thought there were 57 states.
Right. Nobody would make that mistake, but why did he say 57? Well, my dad points out that there's 57 Islamic states, and that he must have had that on the top of his mind, and it just came out as like a Freudian slip.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, you got me. I have no idea.
I don't know what all 57 Islamic states are. What other names
and I'm
are.
not about ready to die.
Right.
So
Rabbit hole.
Yep. So Ted Cruz said yesterday on Saturday, again praising front-runner Donald Trump, and said that he would not attack the billionaire developer during the race for nomination. Quote, I think the focus should be on substance, the Texas senator told reporters. This is from the AP. After speaking at a Republican leadership conference on an island in Michigan, his comments were reported, quote, but let me say I'm very glad Donald Trump is in this election. I like Donald Trump. There are other candidates in this race who have bent over backwards to attack Trump. I take a 2x4 to him. I've not been one of them. I've not done so, and I do not intend to do so. So they were apparently trying to get Cruz, the media, trying to get Cruz to either say something bad about Trump or do Trump in.
Well, he should have, because then he would have been called on CNN.
Half the debate would have been him.
Yeah, it's clear that in order to get noticed by CNN, you have to throw bombs. Right. And they want to do that because they feel like if they destroy each other, there'll be less to beat up on during the general election campaign.
Right. Hey, check this out. So there's I guess Tina Fey has a TV show. She's a comedian. And she had this actress. I don't know who she is. Her name's Kaling. But she's got a new book out, and she's promoting her new book entitled Why Not Me? she was asked by Tina Fey in a would you rather? She was doing a little question and answer, and it was a little would you rather? And she said, in conversation, the event, who would you rather sleep with? Donald Trump or Bill Cosby?
Oh, well, you wouldn't really have to choose Bill Cosby.
Okay. Well, as she said, with Bill Cosby, because you could sleep through it.
No! This is not real.
That's swear it.
That
The
can't
media was losing their mind because she was so flippant about rape. However, in my mind, dude, that was absolutely.
That's kind of funny.
I was reading it and I put it up on Facebook and I did the blah. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
But it threw me off guard. She said, Kaylin responded, and then. The Mindy Kaling project star, who announced she disagrees with almost everything Trump says, was asked her opinion of the New York billionaire. His terms and phrases are amazing, she said. I love that he's like, you're a loser, but would she make out with him? Faye wanted to know. She said, yeah, like for a couple hours, sure.
A couple of hours?
The actress confessed in another game of marry, boop, or kill.
And boop meaning
the F word. Yeah. So out of the three, you got to find somebody to marry, somebody to boop, and somebody to kill. So Cowling said she would marry Stephen Colbert. She would do B.J. Novak. I think that's an athlete.
Okay.
And then she would kill Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
This is for the low information voters. I don't know
who Michael Fassbender is.
No, I guess it doesn't even matter.
All right. Well, you're on notice, Michael Fassbender.
She's coming. She's coming for you.
Assassinate you.
After she wakes up.
That is funny.
So
Tina Fey, it's comedy gold, whatever.
I couldn't help. I lost it, especially the blowback she was getting from NARAL.
Well, it's clearly insensitive to women's suffering.
She was talking about women suffering under the hands of Bill Clinton. Or Bill.
Whoa, that's a slip.
Wow, I really was seeing the face of Bill Cosby when I said that.
Wow, that says a lot. That
says
is
that
very telling.
I know way too much. So,
Hillary called voters
this week. What'd she call
prejudice and paranoid?
All right, okay.
About Trump.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
the slinging around. Well, apparently she was supposed to show up to a middle school. It was on the route. On the planned route, and all the kids were excited to see her. I guess it was some kind of liberal East Coast, maybe New Hampshire or something. It's just awful. And
Manchester, New Hampshire is where she said that.
Right, and so she skipped it and left the kids holding the bag. She didn't go to the school to see the kids.
Oh, that's so messed up. It would have been the only crowd she's gotten in months.
And then Donald Trump shows up to this school for this kid out of the blue on a whim.
Well, it's not totally out of the blue. It is in Iowa.
Well, he's going through it, right.
Of course. It's like the Iowa caucuses. It's like the most...
I'm stopping by.
I just happened to be going through.
Total
coincidence.
So Fox News was doing coverage on Hillary Clinton at one of her events. And the room was maybe the size... It was a quarter the size of a gymnasium at a school.
Quarter of the size of a gymnasium.
The largest school gymnasium that you've been in.
Yeah.
It's got a couple basketball hoops going down.
So like a big one.
Like a big one.
Oh, okay.
It's probably about the quarter of the size.
I thought you were talking about like Cheviot School's gymnasium.
It was that big. Elementary school gymnasium.
I thought you said big. Like with stands and stuff.
Yeah, but a quarter of that school. Just section off just a nugget, just a piece.
But Cheviot School was the court and then walls.
Oh, that's right.
It was tiny. You know what? You were little.
So long ago.
I know you were little.
It looked so huge. huge as a kid.
It's tiny.
Is it?
Well, it's gone now, but when it was there,
Right.
it was the size of a full-size court.
And that was it.
You had about maybe 3 feet between the out-of-bounds line and the wall on all sides.
Right. No, that's right.
It's very small.
So it's just imagine if you went to a hotel convention for an MLM or network marketing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something of that nature. And so they had the camera on the reporter that was reporting about it, and the place was empty but the first 2 rows, and they were talking about how she can't get a crowd. All her crowds are empty. Then they showed cutaways to pictures of other places she's given speeches at, and those places are empty. Outdoor events that are empty, and her indoor events, they're putting up partitions and walls to make it look small.
They always do that.
Right.
They always do that.
So then he says, oh, and by the way, Secretary Clinton hasn't shown up yet, so I guess this might not be fair to her to show this room being half empty, but there might be some people still to come.
Including Hillary. Okay, so I saw Herman Cain when he came to Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in one of those hotel Sheridan Inns or whatever, the MLM
the networking rooms,
and it was partitioned off, and there was probably about 100 seats in there, and it was probably only about half full, so it's really small numbers. However, it was like 9 a.m. on a Tuesday.
You know, Ben Carson's coming to Cincinnati.
Really?
Coming to Sharonville.
Okay.
Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning.
That's exactly what Herman Cain did.
I can't be there Tuesday.
Nobody
I
who
would do
can
it.
be there.
I would do it if I could.
Well, can you find out more about it? Because I do want to go. I'll take off.
Yeah, Google 10:30 in the morning on Tuesday morning.
I videotaped some of Herman Cain's speech and everything. It was pretty cool. He's riveting.
It may even be this week or next week. It may be very,
Dude, you
very
gotta
soon.
Keep me posted on this stuff.
I forgot all about
All right,
it.
well, if
Well,
you're
I
listening
looked
out
at it and I
there-
said, I can't make that. Damn you all.
All right. Well, if I'm in that game, marry, bleep, or assassinate, and I'm on the list for assassination, you can meet me at the Sharon.
Okay, fair.
And you can do your thing. And also, since it's also a hotel,
I'm like, no, that's not us.
yeah. Since it's also a hotel, if the second portion of that game is what you were interested in, that can't happen either.
No, it can't. No, not today.
So anyway, not today, but
right. So we're going to talk about. Let's see, which one is this? This is the.
I have a stack.
4, 3. Hold on, 2.
I love
1,
our
0.
What is this?
This is the intro to my next show.
What is it?
Oh,
we're gonna get busted. We're gonna get busted.
So now that you all know, it is the final countdown.
Oh, okay.
The bomb maker had a countdown on his bomb. Get you all caught up.
We're on that one. Okay, so Muslim boy, 9th grader.
14-year-old Muslim boy goes to school.
He's a genius, right?
Because he invented a clock. I've got sound clips of this knucklehead. He claims to have invented a clock.
Okay.
With a 110 electric cord to plug into the wall.
Okay.
Right. So he put this all, and he claims that he went to Walmart and bought that metal case. It's a metal case, maybe about 12 inches by 12 inches, and it's got a handle on it. So it's like a little miniature
briefcase.
But miniature, correct.
Oh, it's smaller than a regular briefcase.
Right, but for like a kid's briefcase.
Okay.
And it's got metal trim around
You can't tell that by looking at the pictures. It just looks like a briefcase.
Right. And it's fairly small. And nothing was on the outside other than the briefcase itself, because people had been asking me all week, oh, I thought the timer was on the outside. And I heard somebody say, well, I thought it was ticking in class. And no. It was all stuffed inside the suitcase, closed.
In this day and age,
right.
They have to wind it up. Oh, my gosh.
And so, according to the boy wonder, he wanted to impress his teacher. So
By doing what?
By inventing a clock.
Okay. I mean, if it's a science teacher, or maybe he's an entrepreneur, maybe he's an inventor, the teacher, I mean, I could see a kid wanting to do this, but so what's the problem?
And I'm not being sexist or racist or bigotist or whatever the word is.
Bigotist. I've never heard that one.
But it's a female teacher. And a lot,
totally.
A lot of times, I'm just telling you because I've got female teachers in my family.
You're going to get phone calls.
I know female teachers. Typically, they are not that side of the brain to where you're tinkering and plugging and digging and stuff.
You're getting into the weeds.
No, I'm being for real. So this, I'm
your daughter though
going out on a limb.
What was her favorite show when she was really little?
What? How that's made?
How it's made on Science Channel?
But she would never be a teacher.
She would never be a teacher.
No.
Well, yeah, but she likes
that brain stuff, right? No, I understand, and I'm saying women who are teachers though typically are not like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So he opens this up to the teacher and says, hey, look what I did. She grabs the phone, 911, 911.
So she totally panicked.
There's a joke in your town.
Oh,
911.
man.
So she called 911 for either a bomb hoax, fake bomb, or a possible real bomb that this was.
Okay.
And
he called it an invention.
Right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play first the kid explaining. He goes on YouTube and does a face explanation of what he's doing and defending himself of what he did.
All right.
My hobby is to invent stuff, and I do a lot of stuff. For example, inventing this type of stuff right here, Transformers. You get what I'm saying here. But I made a clock. It was really easy. I wanted to show her something small at first, but they took a wrong point of it, and they thought it was a bomb. So I got.
He said he invented a transformer. By the way,
somebody might want to teach him what the word invent means.
Okay, let me press on.
Arrested for a hoax bomb.
They got busted.
An officer and the principal came and took me up, and they took me to a room filled with 5 officers, which they interrogated me and searched through my stuff and took my tablet and my invention. And then later that day, I was taken to a juvenile center detention center where they searched me. They took a fingerprint and mugshots of me, and they searched me until my parents came, and then I got to leave the building and the station. And I went home and talked to my parents about it because I couldn't call my parents during the interrogation until I got to the station. It was a digital clock, and the digital display had four number lines on it. A number line of hour and a number line of minutes. And the clock was made in a metal case, a metal box, and I put the circuit board in there with the digital display in there with it. And I put it in place, and I showed my teacher, and it got to the point where I was arrested. But it was made, and I closed it with a cable. So, because I didn't want to lock it to make it seem like a threat, so I just used a simple cable. So it won't look that much suspicious.
It won't look suspicious?
Yes! So do you hear
that? The clock
this?
itself, it was in a box you could get at Target for like $5-10. And they were telling me it's a suitcase, briefcase. You were like, a movie bomb, which is what they were charging me of. No, I never said anything about, I have a bomb, never. It made me feel like I wasn't human. It made me feel like a criminal.
I wasn't human, I was a criminal. Okay, so now, did you hear the words that came? I played this specifically first because I wanted you to hear from him the words coming out of his mouth and what they meant.
Okay.
He basically said that he knew that it would be misinterpreted as a bomb.
Well, he kind of...
I didn't want people to be suspicious by putting a lock on it. If I had a lock on it, they'd be suspicious. So I put a cable. A cable?
Why wouldn't it just latch closed?
Right. Why?
Because I had a briefcase. I had a briefcase for quite a few years back.
A cable? Who puts a cable around a box?
When you have a case, you guys know, if you have a suitcase or if you do have a briefcase, it's not automatically locked, and you don't need a lock in order to keep it closed.
Right.
Somehow it will close. Now, a lot of times these days, suitcases have zippers on them. If you unzip it, it's open. If you zip it, it's closed. And the only way to open it is if you unzip it. You can lock it if you want, but you certainly don't need a cable. What kind of flimsy toy crap did he buy for a briefcase?
He said
Doesn't
$5
even
to
have
$10, and it was
doesn't
made
even
out of
have a
metal.
latch?
It was made out of metal. It did have a latch.
You might get more for it going to scrap with it.
With a cable.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. So he made the rounds. He came out and did a press conference, and Obama tweeted, "Come to the White House."
So we can I can apologize to you on behalf of the country for being racist.
We need more Americans like you inventing
doing dry runs.
Doing dry runs.
Oh my
so
God.
I blasted all over the internet that this was a dry run.
Oh, certainly.
This was a dry run.
If not, it was a really, really poorly thought out hoax, a joke on his. You know, kids do what kids do. You know.
Right. So the police released that picture, that infamous picture now of the open case.
Mm-hmm.
My first impression instantly was, why does it have a 110, 120 volt plug?
Well, hold on. Let me stop you there. Did you hear what was being reported initially? Initially, they circulated a picture of what this bomb looked like, what this clock looked like.
And the clock.
And it was not a picture of his device. For 48 hours. Wow.
Was Valerie Jarrett involved?
I don't know. Why? Did she do the same thing?
Well, you know, it's just part and parcel of the whole administration. I don't know.
Yeah, well, so they sent out, the
Justice.
media was sending out some stock picture of some stock clock.
Sitting in a box?
In a box. They probably photoshopped the whole thing, because where do you get a picture of a clock in a box?
Who walks around with a clock in a box? Muslims.
Oh, did you go
Terroristas.
there? Terroristas.
Coming up through Mexico, that's why you would call them terroristas.
Oh, terroristas.
Yeah.
That's what you have to ask them when they're when they're filing across the border.
Right.
Terroristo?
Terroristo. So, Obama invited him to the White House. He got all sappy. Hillary praised him. And as soon as I saw the Democrats circling wagons praising this boy wonder, I instantly said, okay, we got some problems here. There's definitely something wrong here. And this is getting blown up because the administration's trying to get something through the back door, trying to hide something.
Well, okay, let me elaborate. And I agree with you 100%. He's sending a message. The administration, the government administration is sending the message to everyone who.
So this is like a dog whistle.
Well, they're sending a message to anybody who may try to. What would they be? Well, right after 9/11,
a lone wolf.
No, lone wolf would be the kid if he blew somebody up. That would be a lone wolf. The Fort Hood shooter, lone wolf. So, no, what I'm saying is after 9/11, what did they tell us? If you see suspicious activity, you got to report it. And if it's on a plane, you better dive on them. Right. Remember the shoe bomber? They beat the ever-living hell out of him.
Should have, too.
They beat the ever-living hell out of him. There were other instances where terrorists were trying to do stuff, and they were just gang tackled, right?
Well, that's what Pamela Geller said.
The message is, hey, if you see a kid who fits the description of a Muslim doing something suspicious, this is what's going to happen to you.
Don't you ask, don't tell.
If you ask or tell.
If
you ask or tell, we're going to make you look real dumb. That's the message.
Oh, yeah.
And what purpose is that serving?
It would be lucky if this woman keeps her job as a teacher.
Yeah, she's going to, when they sue the school, they're also going to sue her civilly, probably.
Right. And so the boy wonder came out in his press conference laughing about this whole event, joking about the whole event, and saying that he no longer, they're pulling him out of that school. No longer am I going to this Texas high school. Or
hopefully they'll pull him out of the whole state. I'm not a Texas resident, but if I was, I'd be like, this kid needs to go. Well, tell me a little bit more about this bomb. Is this kid really that smart?
Well, two things. One, he made it on MSNBC. Exclusive interview.
No, I mean the bomb, not the interview. Oh, okay.
Getting to that.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Slow
hide
me down.
it. Trying to climax it nice and easy.
All right. I like the
just get
quickie.
it over with.
Give me the quickie news story. No, I'm just kidding.
So Chris Hayes, breaking exclusive news, had the boy and his mom on his MSNBC because they got nothing else to do. And this is how this interview went down.
They said, get your stuff, come up with us, and then where'd you go?
I went to an interrogation room filled with 4 other officers.
An interrogation room in your school?
It's a school resources room. I call it the interrogation room because that's where I got interrogated.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. We still got more to go on the sound clip. I'm going to stop it right there. He said you were interrogated. What? At the school? And he's like, no, it's the school resources room, but I call it the interrogation room because that's what happened to me.
That's where they interrogated me. Right. I mean, is there something wrong with that statement? Because it seems logical.
Seems like he was prepped for that answer. I don't know if 14-year-olds would
you're
ever...
right. I was going to praise him on that answer, but I was just waiting to see where he went. But you're right. That seems like he was coached.
They put you in a chair, and there's 5 officers total and the principal.
5.
Did you ask them, can I talk to my parents? Can I call my parents and tell them what's going on?
Yes.
And what did they say?
They told me, no, you can't call your parents. You're in the middle of an interrogation at the moment.
And what kind of things did they ask you?
They asked me a couple of times, is it a bomb? And I answered a couple of times, it's a clock.
And that didn't seem to satisfy them?
It's a great interview.
No.
How long were you in that room?
About an hour, 25 minutes, around an hour and 25.
So what else were they asking you aside from is it a bomb if you were in there for an hour and a half?
They asked me why I would bring a clock to school, and I had explained to them that I brought it to school to show my teachers to impress them.
Okay.
Was this a project, or was he just like, I'm going to do something on my own?
This was completely on his own. This was not a school project.
Who does that?
This kid. Okay, all right.
So eventually, after an hour and a half, is that when they handcuff you?
Yes.
Did they say you're under arrest or you're being charged?
They told me I was under arrest, and I asked them for what crime, and they were like, for a hoax bomb.
A hoax bomb? Okay.
How'd you feel?
Here it is.
I felt like I was a criminal. I felt like I was a terrorist. I felt like all the names I was called.
What do you mean all the names you were called?
Oh, boy.
I was called, in middle school I was called a terrorist, called a bomb maker.
So now we have a motive.
Because of my race.
Right. This is his race. And his
Wait,
religion.
you've been called
we
that
have his
before by kids in your school?
Yes.
And were the officers saying things like that to you?
One of the officers did comment on me walking in the room.
What did he say?
He got back in the recline chair and he relaxed and he was like, and he said, that's who I thought it was.
Oh.
And what did you take that to mean?
Okay, here's the payoff.
I took it to mean that he was pointing at me for what I am, my race.
What I am,
and
a terrorist.
he took it at me because I was just a student. I never had any contact with him. I never talked.
He's prejudiced.
Right.
He prejudged you.
Right. Okay, so hold on. You're a 14-year-old kid. This isn't a science project. You arrive at school with a completely okay. I won't let the cat out of the bag. A clock that you claim to have invented. He uses the word, I'm going to go take him by his word. He uses the word invented.
He could have put it in a paper bag, a plastic bag. He could have put it in a backpack. Why would you go and spend up to $10 at the store
for a metal box
for a what looks to be, appears to be, is in the fashion of a briefcase? Which, by the way, is the briefcase bomb. It's a typical.
Right. If you had it in your, and that Pamela Geller said that too. She said it is a typical movie briefcase bomb.
Right, like you see on Airplane.
Right,
the movie Airplane.
Yeah,
that briefcase.
So if you, like you said, if you put it in a backpack, and I instantly said, no, not back. Yes. You got your books in there, your folders in there, and then a side pocket. You got all these wires and stuff.
I don't know how big.
You could stick it in there and just open your backpack. Say, look what I got, and pull it out by the wires and lay it out and wire it to get whatever. No. You've got it. Open up the steel box and the spread of the stuff.
But briefcases aren't usually steel. Seems kind of odd.
No, it does seem odd. So there is an engineer who broke this down shotgun style.
Oh, boy.
And confirmed what I saw, what I felt. He was able to put this into words, and he's done things like this before.
And I'm going to tell you why this never occurred to me, but this is fascinating.
Okay, hi there. I'm going to explain about this Ahmed Mohammed clock that was supposedly built by a 14-year-old. And I've gotten a bit of grief on YouTube posting that this is a fraud and that this child, nothing against him personally, never built a clock. He did not invent a clock or build it, and I'm going to show you why. This is the photograph of the device that he created or put in here. And what this is a commercial alarm clock, as you would purchase in any department store and use at your bedside. And all that he did was remove the plastic case from the alarm clock.
Okay, so this is really critical. The way the kid describes it is that he went to a place like, let's say, a Radio Shack, the way it was back in the day.
Right.
I don't think Radio Shack does this anymore.
He said he invented a transformer.
Well, let's say
like this is a transformer I invented.
Okay, that's kind of weird, but like. But you could buy a transformer and buy a circuit board and buy capacitors, resistors, and switches.
Cheap. On the cheap.
Regardless whether it's cheap or expensive, just totally irrelevant, because maybe you raise the money to buy all the parts and then you build a clock from scratch. You know, there's people in Minecraft. For those of you, and I don't know if Brian's even familiar with Minecraft, but all Minecraft is a video game where you can put these different components together in these blocks. There are people that invented calculators in Minecraft using these different blocks that do different functions. And it's enormous. Like, it looks like the size of a city.
But it's just a simple calculator.
Yeah, you hit certain things and you can they actually have displays and everything, so that it could display the numbers. But anyway, so this kid could have done that, and in fact, if he did what this guy's claiming he's done, yeah, we got a problem. So when you buy a clock at the store, a working clock
that plugs into your wall
and then works, you didn't invent a clock. You bought a clock.
And you may argue, well, maybe it wasn't from a store. Well, listen a little bit more.
This is not an invention. This is not something that someone built or even assembled. And I could show you the difference. Up here, where this mouse is a 7-segment display. And on that 7-segment display, you will see that that is what people see. But if someone had really made a clock, this circuitry here would not look like this. First of all, this transformer is for a 120-volt line. People who do maker things do not tend to use AC power.
Yeah,
because it's a bit more dangerous, and there's no reason to do it. You can use batteries. Right. The other thing that's the difference is that these are manufactured printed circuit boards with printed circuit board circuits in them with a microcontroller in the middle. And those manufactured boards are used in manufactured products or professional engineer sample runs. the ribbon cables in between these are also indicative of a manufactured product. As a matter of fact, commercial clocks tend to have 9-volt battery backup, and this even has the 9-volt battery backup.
Yeah, why would he have that?
He's got a 9-volt battery backup on his plug-in clock.
So it's pretty clear that what he did was he bought a working clock and just took the case, the outer case that makes it look pretty, out, and what you have left is
guts,
the circuits, a couple wires, the 9-volt battery backup, and the AC wire. You know why he used an AC wire? Because that's what the clock he bought has.
Right.
So, and the display was something different. He had this large number display and then ribbon cable. I'll tell you what, I'll give him a little credit if he bought a clock that works and then was able to transfer the display into a new display. I would be pretty impressed by that. But that would be the only part of it that had any creativity whatsoever. There was also a big giant circuit board that he alluded to that other people were saying looks like something he would have ripped out of a giant, like an old school style computer. Like if you open up your computer,
see the
tower.
motherboard.
The motherboard, yeah, right. So just grab some discarded computer's board, put it in there, not to perform any function, but to make it look scarier.
Okay, so is there any video or any picture with this invention working?
That's a good question.
No, I can't find anything.
So it may not even work.
I wouldn't plug it in. Sitting in a metal case, all completely exposed. The thing it could be touching something it shouldn't be touching, and it would smoke itself out.
Did you hear about the kid that got suspended or expelled from school for bringing a clock to school? This is a different story. Apparently, you can buy a novelty clock online.
Okay.
It looks exactly like 6 sticks of dynamite taped together with a clock and a bunch of wires sticking out all over the place.
Now, that would have been a better story if Ahmed Mohammed would have brought that to school and said, look what I invented.
Yeah, somebody brought that. I don't know. You know why it's not a story? I think the kid...
was a white kid.
Yeah, wasn't a Muslim, and he wasn't brown or whatever. He was probably just a white kid.
This kid, Mohammed's father, is a well-known Muslim Islamic extremist activist.
Oh, an activist. Interesting.
And he's anti-Israel.
So this is an experiment then. He is actually conducting an experiment
with his boy.
It's called a social experiment.
So you ready for the little bit of in your mouth, a little throw up, a little
I'm ready to throw up in my mouth.
So there is a very wealthy Islamic guy who tries to push Islam in America.
Okay.
By raising money and shoving it down people's throats.
Okay.
So he took to GoFundMe.
Oh, no.
And set up a GoFundMe for $100,000 for Ahmed.
Yeah, but GoFundMe shuts those things down, like the woman in Kentucky.
This has not been shut down.
Oh, come on.
And as of Friday, it was up to $10,000. There's another GoFundMe that was like $50,000, $60,000 to help pay for Ahmed's college.
Because he's a good actor?
No, he's an inventor.
But he didn't invent
genius.
anything.
He's a genius.
He didn't invent anything.
$60,000, and that one had up to like $7,000 of funding.
Okay, I'll give him credit. You know, you got to earn your money, and any money you earn, you did something to earn it.
Even if it is selling somebody on an idea that's not real, you actually did a good job on selling them.
You know, he didn't do all the work. It was the liberals for 5 decades that came before
setting
him.
it up for him.
Set him up, and he just said, "Oh, really?"
I'm gonna walk right through this one.
Right. It's kind of like being born in the computer
on the 4th
age.
of July.
Oh, no. Wow. Do not watch that movie. Woo! That is the most anti-American movie
I just slipped
ever.
on a banana peel.
Yes, you did. You slipped on a banana. You said throw up in my mouth. I just did right there. I just definitely threw up in my mouth. Get the cackle going.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is the one.
After.
Do I really laugh like that?
Hold on, they both looked at each other and agreed. They both looked at each other and agreed. Jeez.
How much time are we at? Because I have a the Muslim invasion.
Yeah.
I have a story in my stack on that.
We've got 30 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay, so what's going on with this Muslim invasion? You want me to go ahead and give you my article?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So John Urang Kerry, right out of the horse's mouth. Really? He says U.S. is going to accept 85,000 refugees in 2016 and 100,000 in 2017.
Yeah.
So in AP Berlin, scrambling to address a growing Syrian refugee crisis. Okay. U.S. Secretary of State John Urang Kerry announced, oh, by the way, who did serve in Vietnam.
Yeah, and talked about Genghis Khan.
Right. Announced Sunday that the United States would significantly increase the number of worldwide terrorists it takes in over the next 2 years, though not by nearly the amount that other terrorists and former officials have urged.
Wow.
The U.S. will accept 85,000 refugees from around the world next year, up from 70,000, and that total would rise to 100,000 in 2017. Kerry said that at a news conference with German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier after they discussed the mass migration of Syrians fleeing their civil war. Here's the thing. When is the civil war started? And, I mean, why now? Why were these Syrian refugees just suddenly appearing out of nowhere?
Back 7 years ago, Hillary Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama destabilized the entire Middle East.
Okay.
George Bush started it by removing Hussein, which is fine, started to secure Iraq and lock it down, which is fine. Obama then said, I'm pulling out on this day to let y'all know. Pulled out. At the same time, Assad's regime in Syria is being overtaken by ISIS. They're down there. Russia is now in Syria. They have a base, an air base, and are starting to fly sorties.
Oh, boy.
And all of this entire Middle East is completely destabilized because of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about this. Whatever. Okay, so there's
so now this is coming to a head. The Civil War, this whole thing's coming to a head.
Civil War, but the thing that's really affecting us, that really makes us all involved in this and have to take notice, is that we're suddenly going to have to, thanks to John Kerry and all the other idiots on the left in America, are going to have to take in refugees, which, okay, if you want to be bleeding heart, that's fine, but there's absolutely no way to vet these people.
Well,
you can say, oh, don't worry. Don't worry. We're going to vet these people. We're going to make sure that they're not bad people. The thing is you have to do a reality check. What do? Do you go to the police database?
Which they're not in.
The CIA database?
They're not in.
Yeah, I mean, the only people in the CIA and NSA databases are Tea Party conservatives. Those are the only people.
Right. So Slovenia is being taken over. Police are pepper spraying them. CNN, despite CNN's best efforts, along with the BBC, they're trying to paint these European migrants as spontaneous humanitarian crisis fueled by Syria's civil war. However, on Wednesday, reported by the AP, full-fledged riots broke out at Hungary's border with Serbia, where Hungary had just this week finished work on razor wire fencing to keep the migrants from pouring into its own country.
So they're really fighting hard to keep them out.
Oh, yeah. Quote, "We cannot register and accommodate these people no longer," Croatian Prime Minister Zoran told the news. He said they will get food, water, and medical help and then move the boo on. Now, he didn't say boo. He said move on. The European Union must know that Croatia will not become a migrant hotspot. We have hearts, but we also have heads.
Interesting that they had that to say.
Yeah.
So we don't have heads. We're going to go ahead and let them in. I mean, we don't know how to tell whether or not they're terrorists or not, whether some terrorists have snuck in within the refugees. But I will tell you this. ISIS announced many months ago that they're going to plan on hiding
Take them for the word.
wolves.
Take them for the word.
Why would you not? It's just unbelievable that the people in charge that from the Democrat Party would put American citizens at such great risk. I mean, it only took 19 hijackers in America. The Boston Marathon bomber was a Muslim refugee in America.
And his parents received over hundreds of thousands of dollars of welfare and
That's
government
unbelievable.
assistance.
That is ridiculous. I haven't received that much in work.
Right.
Good God. So ask why the U.S. couldn't take more, Kerry cited post 9/11 screening requirements and lack of money made available by Congress. So he's blaming Congress and that pesky 9/11 thing, terrorism.
So money, huh? Money? A record of 400,000 refugee migrants crossed the Mediterranean to Europe so far this year. Hundreds of thousands have been trekking across the Balkan Peninsula to reach richer European countries to the north and the west, especially Germany, which is prepared to accept 800,000.
That's a lot.
Germany is expecting to spend, this government numbers expected to spend 25 billion euros on immigration, which is 28 billion in American dollars.
The story I heard on talk radio this week was that Germany has some sort of a population crisis, and so they're going to fix that by just bringing in all these Syrian refugees. And I never knew or even would have had any reason to suspect that Germany has a population problem. I heard that they were booming.
Well, I mean,
I'm not talking about population. I mean, economically. Why would
in the Union? Yeah, in the Union, the EU, the European Union, Germany's one of the strongest
They're
countries
the ones
there.
propping everybody else up.
Right.
Why wouldn't everybody who, not terrorists, but people from, like, let's say Greece. Greece is on fire because of their communism.
So are you saying it's a grease fire?
No, okay. What does that mean?
It's dirty and
oh, wow. You did go there. You did go there. Okay, so if I lived in Greece, I would definitely probably try to move over to Germany. If they're having a population problem, why wouldn't they rather take on Grecian men?
Well, they didn't pass that law yet.
Oh, man.
That law has not been passed by their Supreme Court justices.
Oh, don't. But we all love Grecian men.
Well, the Grecian men do what they do. However, Germany is not down like that.
Oh, I see. They like the Lederhosen.
The Lederhosens and
no what?
Horse.
What? I don't know.
Trojan horse.
Oh, the Trojan
They don't
horse.
like the Trojan.
Which, by the way, I took to Twitter immediately when I heard about the story of the Syrian or refugees, Muslim refugees flooding over all these borders, looking for places to go, particularly America. And I'm like, this sounds like a Trojan horse.
Did you know that Saudi Arabia has hundreds of thousands of tents, air-conditioned tents, available to use, but refuse to accept even one single refugee?
Interesting. And they're also, I heard, pushing for other countries, non-Muslim countries, to have a heart.
Well, they
have a heart and open up your borders. Open up.
They
Let me in. We need to get that soundbite from Poltergeist 2.
Oh, yeah.
That crazy old man.
Well, they said that they would help Germany out by building 200 or 400 mosques for Germany.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make sure that. I mean, it looks so blatantly obvious to me. It's like they're saying
Imams are coming out saying mate with Europeans to flood them out. All week they've been saying that. And the rampant rape in all these, the migrants raping other migrants raping German citizens.
Well,
the rape is out of control.
Right. It's anarchy. When you're in a big crowd of refugees who are fleeing their country.
No food, no water, no just a sack on their back.
There are no laws, there are no rules, regulations, or anything to govern the people. They're just desperate.
Right.
And I'm not faulting them. They're just in a desperate situation.
And if you arrest them, then they'll have a roof over their head and food to eat. So that's not really that bad.
Well, I don't think that they're trying to commit immoral acts so that they get to go to prison and get 3 squares.
They're committing these immoral acts because they're spreading. This is their way to spread Islam.
Okay. I can't even.
And the only reason why I'm saying that is a fact is because I'm listening to the imams, the leaders of the Muslim.
Yeah, they're flat out
world.
saying it's a Trojan horse.
Yes,
we are building the Trojan horse, and I'm paraphrasing that. Did we not learn anything about, from having Windows software all these years? I mean, you got to know about the
Trojans,
the Trojan horses,
Trojan man.
Well,
Trojan horse is going to tear.
Well, the Trojan viruses that
destroy Windows.
Yeah,
because apparently whoever invented the Trojan has a really, really high level of disdain for Microsoft.
Apparently, they're like, I'm gonna get even with these people. Anyway,
so 17,000 arrivals since Wednesday morning until Friday, Saturday. So about 17,000 since Wednesday. Many crossing fields and dodging police has proven too much for one of EU's less prosperous states in crisis that has divided the 28-nation bloc and left it scrambling to respond. So the entire EU, which is basically, if you allowed the Democrats to run America, we would wind up looking like the European Union in just short few years.
They keep on referring to the European countries like, well, those countries do it. We need to look to them for guidance in our laws. We left them.
There's a reason why we're not part and parcel of them.
We made the Constitution. The people that made the Constitution, very wise, very educated, just very well read. They know what kind of laws and systems of government have been in Europe for thousands of years. These were not uneducated people. They created a system of law, of self-governing in the Constitution that was going to be the better way to do it than Europe.
So if you're saying that, what does it say about Justice Stevens, who wrote in his book, one of the Supreme Court justices, about how he looked to foreign law to help shape his opinions?
Sounds like a Trojan horse himself.
Yeah.
What the hell? Seriously?
How is life appointment? You're appointed lifetime appointment.
Oh, there is I believe I have to get a constitutional scholar on. Do we have Mark Levin on speed dial?
He called in earlier, but we dropped it. I think he's traveling to the mountains.
I just called him right now, and he's busy. So I'm thinking it
might be his traveling.
Right. Yeah. So, but anyway, there is a way to impeach justices. Nobody ever does it, though. Nobody even ever threatens it. But you can impeach a judge.
Just like we could impeach Obama.
We should. He's a traitor. He's treasonous against the Constitution in every way, shape, and form. Every single word, phrase, or letter of the Constitution has been violated by him in some way. Even new constitutional changes that have been put in place to give him more power have been violated. The treaty with Iran.
Right.
They're calling it a deal because if they call it what it really is, by definition, it really is a treaty, but they can't call it that because if they did, then what he's doing is unconstitutional.
Right.
And that's something new.
Right. And he's also creating his own federal domestic police department to send out
the little Nazis.
Yep. Send them out. He's also the first president to nominate an openly gay service secretary to lead the Army.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it came out this week.
Oh.
An openly gay service member will now be secretary to lead the Army.
Wow. So they're really pushing for Biden to run.
Yeah, dude. I mean, hardcore.
So Yahoo. So they're trying to figure out what kind of articles can we come out with. This would be from Yahoo News. So this is an actual Yahoo article. What kind of articles can we come out with that will really start to rally support or possibly even peer pressure Biden into running?
For Uncle Joe.
So check this headline out. Can Joe Biden run with a broken heart? I swear that is the... can you believe? Vice President Joe Biden watches on an honor guard carry a casket containing the remains of his son, former Delaware Attorney General Beau Biden, into St. Anthony of Padua Roman Catholic Church in Wilmington, Delaware, for funeral services. Joe Biden's son, Beau, died on May 30th, and a little more than 3 months later, the vice president acknowledged that he was struggling with the decision whether or not to enter the presidential race. Most people, whether or not they have a child, let alone lost one, the idea must seem on par with entering the Tour de France 3 months after open heart surgery. Boy, they're laying it on thick here.
Yeah, buddy.
If Biden runs...
Hold on. He's got a broken heart from his son, and he had open heart surgery.
No, the idea must seem on par with the Tour de France 3 months after open heart surgery.
So he had open heart surgery. Oh, if he were to do the Tour de France and open heart surgery,
this would be on par with that.
Were they referencing Tour de France? You know, the drug addict, the cheater?
Either that or Dick Cheney, since he had open heart surgery. I don't know. So if Biden runs, he will spend much of the next year on the phone with potential donors, needing to get past the awkward condolences before moving on to hitting them up for money. Dude, to me, that's probably... Man, it's Joe. How's it going?
Hey, what do you need, Joe? You know what? If I saw Joe and he's like, hey, Brian, I know you get that Smith radio thing, but you know, man, could you spare a couple bucks? I don't know, I might. I'd have a beer with him.
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely sit down and have a beer with Joe Biden. There's no question about it.
I don't like what you do, but I like the way you do it. That's what I'd have to say to him.
No, he would say that to us.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. He would. If he is nominated, he may face Donald Trump, who has shown a keen instinct for going for the jugular, no reluctance to stick a knife in it.
Dead son, open heart surgery, jugular veins, sticking a knife in it. I'm seeing like a
theme.
A theme here.
There's a theme.
Okay. I'm seeing a bloody theme.
Okay. Having trampled most of the boundaries of commodity and political discourse by, for instance, making fun of rivals' looks. Could Trump be trusted not to taunt an opponent about the death of a family member? Really?
Okay, so the only thing this article is missing is O.J. Simpson and Johnny Cochran.
Quote, I just don't think he's up to the job. Maybe it's because his son died. I don't know.
What? Who said that?
It's in parentheses, which means I think that the author was suggesting that might be something he might say.
Oh.
And if Biden wins, he will take on the most demanding job in the world a year and a half after burying his son.
Oh my goodness, man, they're burying him again all over.
Right. At a time when experience teaches most ordinary people will barely be climbing out of the paralysis of grief. But successful politicians aren't ordinary people. They are driven by ambition and a sense of their own destiny that overrides almost every other sentiment. Not many willingly pass up on a run for higher office if they have even a chance to win. And dude, you know what they're doing? They're suggesting, Biden, we're telling you, get in the race.
Dun, 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 dun,
That's what they're doing. Can you hear the theme music? You can hear it. You hear the theme music in the background.
Dun, dun.
But Biden was clearly ambivalent in his now famous interview with Stephen Colbert. By the way, that was painful. That interview, I watched it live.
I heard about it.
He was crying, and the whole time Colbert's like, okay, we gotta figure out how to get out of this. This is getting a little awkward.
Well, you know,
quote, I don't think any man or woman should run for president unless, number one, they know exactly why they would want to be president, and number two, why they could look at folks out there and say, I promise you, you have my whole heart, my whole soul, my energy, my passion to do this. And I'd be lying if I said that I knew I was there. That was Biden. He said that during,
Right.
And I don't know Biden, and I have no insight into his thinking. This is the author literally talking to him. But I know, both as a journalist and a father, something about what he is going through and some of the things he should be weighing and that the rest of us should be thinking about if he runs.
So I hooked up with Biden over the weekend.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to tell this story, but
okay.
we were hanging out for a little bit.
Are you sure he'd be okay with you?
Well, everybody knows about it now.
Okay, all right.
But we did have a few too many. And he started to embarrass me in front of the ladies.
Oh, at the Villages?
The Villages, America's friendliest hometown.
Dude, look.
The Villages, America's friendliest hometown.
I don't think it's him.
The Villages.
I don't think it's him.
See, I got that on my phone, and I said, Joe, if you don't stop this, I'm going to show this to everybody on the show. I'm going to let everybody see.
He just did.
And he said to me, I don't care because I love the Village. And then he went back through the whole thing again.
He did it again?
I'm like, Joe, Uncle Joe. And he just wouldn't listen. He kept saying it and saying it and saying it.
What were you doing at the Villages anyway?
No, we weren't there, but he wanted to go there. He said it's a party.
You weren't even at the Villages. You were singing about the Villages?
Right, because that's where he wanted to go.
You got to tell him to lay off the
highest
liquor.
rate of STDs in all of America.
Really?
The Villages.
But they're all old, nothing but old people there.
Viagra.
Oh.
They say the breakout of STDs in the Villages is just off the charts.
Wow. So
penicillin.
You know Bob Dole. What do you think he has?
They dropped. I'm Bob Dole. Bob Dole says this and I say that, but I'm Bob Dole and I said it, so that's it. I'm Bob Dole.
All right.
No, they ship in, you know, the tankers they bring in with gasoline to fill up the UDF with gas. They bring those in a penicillin to the Villages.
Oh, they just hose people off like a topical cream. Like a fire hose. Oh my goodness.
Woo! Anything else about Obama?
We got the Muslim invasion.
Right. I've got this thing about Washington, D.C. 3 in 4 Americans at 75% last year perceived corruption as widespread in the country's government. A figure up from 2/3 in 2007. It was 67% and went down a little bit in 09 to 66. Is the question asked by adults was, is corruption widespread throughout the government in this country or not? 75% said yes.
And that is why.
That's all you need to know.
It's all outside. I'm not just going to say Trump. Ben Carson would have been. I mean, we saw what happened with Herman Cain. He was a total outsider, businessman, and he never really got much traction.
No.
But somehow Ben Carson, the outsider, Carly Fiorina, that relatively outside, and of course we all know Donald Trump, totally outsider.
Hillary's outside.
Oh, because her picture. A picture of a woman is not on the placemat for Chelsea Clinton with all the presidents.
She's outside in the backyard, grazing. We should call her the Jackal. Like, she laughs.
Jackal, but I was thinking the Joker. Remember at the end of the 1989 movie?
Yep. I do.
The very end.
Yeah.
The very last scene, he fell off the big cathedral to his death. And on the ground, there was a little wind-up toy of some sort that would laugh, and it was creepy. Really creepy. But it kind of reminds me of that. I mean, Mr. Producer is on top.
That's Jack Nicholson laying on the ground with the Joker laugh.
Wow. Yeah, that is, and now that would be more of a 95-year-old Hillary Clinton.
Well, just give her another cigar.
Oh, she needs several boxes of cigars to sound like that. But no, I mean, but notice how clearly fake that laugh was. It was a wind-up toy.
And it's the exact same laugh that she has, which is completely fake.
I mean,
it's so uncomfortably fake for everyone involved.
And it kind of sounds like nails on a chalkboard or a fork on a piece of china, like a plate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So anyway. Yeah, so the main thing is we wanted to get out to you people is I want to talk about Glenn Beck. You know, there's a lot of people. It's a mass exodus.
We've got a couple minutes left, Joe.
Okay. He hates Trump. All of his friends that Jeffy and Stu, they all hate Donald Trump, and they're completely blind to what's going on, and they don't understand why everybody likes him. Why do conservatives like the liberal? It's because they believe that you can change. Most conservatives were liberal at one point.
Well, yeah, there's a very, very famous conservative radio talk show host out on the left coast who wrote a best-selling book called Right Turns.
There you go. And a lot of people do.
And he's Jewish, and he was a Jewish left, part and parcel, all about Democrat Party. Realized, woke up one day, wrote a book called Right Turns and how he turned right.
Right. There's that. There's the difference there, and also the fact that he had to work within the confines of the law in order to succeed in business. So it's not hypocritical to use a law to your advantage, even if you disagree with it. He was probably thinking it was ridiculous. And maybe his experiences in business with ridiculous laws may have been the motivation to run for office to make the changes under his administration. And I think that smart conservatives understand that logic. And I think lifelong Republicans and lifelong conservatives are narrow-minded in that regard. I don't mean to insult anybody who's never been a liberal in their entire life, but there's definitely a blind spot. I've talked to people who have never had a single liberal thought in their entire life, and they have a blind spot.
I was a victim, if you will, in my mind. I claim to be a victocrat. That book was by Michael Medved called Right Turn.
Yeah.
And And he also talks about that. But Larry Elder came up with the word victocrat. He's a black man, very popular out on the left coast, speaking the truth, calls himself a Republican, kind of a split between a Republican and a libertarian. And being a victocrat, you're a victim of society. You feel that way, you act that way, and in turn, you become that dependent upon the society that you're a victim of.
Right. So, sure, I believe that he won the debate, Trump, but the reason why somebody who has given so many millions of dollars to Democrats all those years and are still getting support from Republicans is that very reason. So, I don't know why he can't see that. I think it's because Glenn Beck has never been a liberal, I think he's always been conservative. He doesn't understand liberals. He doesn't understand progressives. I mean, I was as far left as they come, so I really understand what they're
and then we were talking about the money that he almost didn't come up with for the cause that he was doing. That was the 20,000 man march through that city that got zero coverage, zero media. I don't know how you put 20,000 people together and you get zero coverage. Unbelievable.
That's hurting my ears.
I know. How can you turn it? Can you turn that down? I can't control it.
Way down.
Can I control it?
I got it down. We're good to go.
That was the producer telling me, get the...
You want to get the closing argument?
All right, folks. We are all over the place for you. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Tune in Sunday night, 5 p.m. for the latest breaking news everywhere. Good night now.
See you next week.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.